Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Winter is Blooming, a Game of Thrones rewatch podcast by us, the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today is the season 7 finale. We conclude another season of Thrones, and I am so very excited. Season 7, Episode 7, The Dragon and the Wolf. It was written by D&D, David Benioff, and D.B. Weiss, directed by Jeremy Podeswa. I am Colton Robertson, and I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And another season in the books.
Mm-hmm.
7 down, 1 to go. How are you feeling about it, buddy?
It's it was a quick season. It felt very, very quick compared to the others.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that the pace of it has picked up to the amount that people would say it, has. People always just kind of group 7 and 8 together. I feel like it's just kind of this hodgepodge. It's like it's all bad. From season 7 on, it's just shit, and don't bother. It's not the same show. But no, I think season 7 actually surprised me. I haven't really noticed many of the downfalls at all, and I think the only major downfall is the Arya and Sansa storyline. But we get the best part of it this episode, so it's kind of all over, and I don't have to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
Everything bad.
And even so, given it was the best part and the last part of it, it was a shame to kind of see that the previous episodes have kind of painted this twist even negatively on a rewatch. Like, I like it. I like the moment. I think it's well performed, but like,
I don't know.
After a whole couple episodes of them being at each other's throats, like it just felt so fucking cheap.
Yeah, it dawned on me. It dawned on me that like we have Arya. She has all these faces. She's capable of. She likes to kind of kill people in ways, where she taunts first or whatever. Like how she killed the entire Frey family. We didn't know it's her. We could have gotten something where she puts a face on. She talks to Littlefinger. He says something to like incriminate him. So, like she chooses a face of someone where, I don't know, he drops something where he says his true intentions, and then they're like, okay, yeah,
and
well, we thought so.
There's a lot about that scene that I do really like, because I appreciate that they don't accuse him, like, legally of anything at present. It is a bunch of stuff they know he's done, like, and that catharsis of being like, you betrayed and got our father killed, and now we are exacting vengeance for our house.
Yeah, no real trial here. This was just kind of like, we're in the north, and you're a schemy little fuck.
Live by the north, die by the north, homie. I
like
like that. Like, we'll get to it. There are elements of it I enjoy. There are elements of it I don't, and it's like you said, it is the best part of this storyline. It more just is the build up to it that has made that just kind of put a bad taste in my mouth.
But everything else, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
that's the thing though. That was all to say that everything else was enjoyable and I liked. So, but yeah, I guess where are we beginning this episode?
We will begin in King's Landing.
Okay, the big one. Okay.
Oh, very big, very big. This was one of those things that reminded me how no matter how quick or accelerated or, arguably bad the show became written, it never lost its visual flair, baby. Like, this shit looked good. Whenever we see the Unsullied outside the city gates lined up, and the way they were photographed throughout this episode, fucking beautiful.
Everyone's costume, like everyone, everyone's kind of just in black. Everyone is, which I think is hilarious. Like, the person I noticed the most costume wise actually was Jorah. I don't know why. Jorah was just looking good.
He was
To me, I guess
stunting.
Grey Worm
Uh,
actually as well. I don't know, kind of. It felt
mhm.
like he was stunting some new armor. The like kind of three. I don't know if I don't know. Maybe it was always on his armor. The kind of three dragons kind of eating themselves. I don't know. It was kind of a different uh Targaryen logo on
Mm,
his
mm.
kind of
I see.
on his chest. I
I didn't
think
catch that, but
maybe I'm getting
uh,
Jorah's and his mixed up, but I think
I mean,
so.
Jorah's armor was
But
fucking gnarly.
yeah.
I loved it. It was good looking, but yeah, the Unsullied are lining up in tight formation outside the walls of King's Landing, and on the walls, Jaime Lannister and Bronn discuss how the latter is unnerved by the idea of soldiers without genitalia, as he's been around enough soldiers to know why they fight, and that the idea of soldiers who fight for no promise of sex is alien to him.
Hmm.
Uh, Jamie's line here, where he's like, "Maybe it really is all cocks in the end." Uh, it
Yeah.
reminded me of a line from The Sopranos, like just like a little cunnilingus in psychiatry led us to this. It's something that Tony says very early on, just like maybe it really is all cocks in the end. Like it's just
Wow. Yeah, man, what a just a shows like it's just HBO, they just got the television, just the goated television. And two characters, uh
dude.
like two shows vastly different. Like you're this, Game of Thrones, you're loving like the actual good guy and like the guy that you're rooting for, like Jon Snow. I don't know, I root for Tony Soprano, the fuck out of Tony
Oh yeah,
Soprano,
yeah, yeah.
and he does some
That's the
gnarly
strength
shit.
of The Sopranos is that
But
you do root for Tony.
hmm
Uh,
but yeah.
but regardless, yeah, like just this whole conversation where he's like like Jamie tries to rationalize it and Bronn's like, "Well, no, you see." And he's like, "Yeah, no, that's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, they
You
do it.
fight for family.
Yeah,
Well, no hope
the
of family when you don't
family.
have a cock,
Yeah,
you know?
it's like, damn.
Uh,
All right, Braun, you
maybe it really
checkmated
is all
me,
cock
dude.
in
Okay, maybe, yeah, maybe you're right. Uh,
the end."
no.
But as they talk, hordes of Dothraki ride in, and it's a stark contrast to the disciplined Unsullied, who don't even blink as hundreds of horses flood past them. But the two ancient enemies are united in a cause today. And at the harbor, Tyrion Lannister, Varys, Missandei, Jon Snow, and Davos Seaworth nervously sail past Euron Greyjoy's fleet. And the Hound goes below deck to check on their guest, who is thankfully just as riled up as ever. And in her solar, Cersei is informed by Qyburn of the arrival of Daenerys' party. And though there is no sign of Daenerys herself, Cersei promptly tells Sir Gregor Clegane that if anything goes wrong at the summit, he is to kill Daenerys. And Tyrion and Jon, in that order, then dispose of the rest as he
Yeah,
pleases.
not as nicely put as that. I believe the silver-haired bitch first,
Yes.
and then the something that calls himself my brother, I think is how she put
Yeah.
Tyrion.
And then the
And
bastard.
yeah, the bastard who claims to be king of the North or whatever. Yeah, it was, man. And then I love just seeing Jamie's reaction to that though in the background. He was just kind of like, oh my, I mean like, damn, how bluntly you just put that. I guess like sure, but she was like basically power ranking her enemies. She's like,
Yeah.
this is
No,
the one
she's
who's
like,
most important to me to
first and
die.
foremost, we do
Like
have to kill her,
yeah.
but then we gotta kill my brother, and then I guess you can kill Jon too. That's okay.
Yeah, like I just do whatever, and then just kill whoever else as you see fit. Get up to you. Have fun.
Well,
Uh,
and she's talking about committing war crimes, which is hysterical.
mhm.
Like when you're meeting at a summit like this, it's generally frowned upon. Uh,
Yeah, it's
to
kill the main leaders of the
yeah,
people who are showing
yeah,
up. Uh,
generally not ideal.
uh,
And not necessarily war crimes, but the rules of war would be getting broken if something like
mhm.
this were to happen. And I appreciate that she does say that if anything goes wrong, if something happens, and
True. This
she's like,
wasn't the plan just from the get go.
no, it's not like she's like,
Yeah,
just kill them.
yeah.
Simple. Game over. We win. So she does have like there's that shred, that itty bitty shred
Mhm.
of uh, appearance she has to maintain, you know.
Yeah,
But
also the Dothraki and Unsullied and two dragons are at her doorstep. So
Yeah.
she's kind of got to be a little careful.
Yeah, you got to be cautious to be sure. But yeah, the group arrives and are escorted to the dragon pit uh, by Braun. Braun leads the little group that's escorting them with Brienne and Podrick in tow. And Tyrion reconnects with Braun, who concedes that it is good to see him again. Uh, and the pair greet Podrick Payne, who had arrived earlier with Brienne of Tarth. And as Pod goes off with Braun, Brienne hangs back to talk with the Hound. And this part brings me one of my favorite, probably my favorite line of the
Okay,
episode,
good.
where they're going back and forth as they both acknowledge that they only fought to protect Arya. They both had her best interest at heart, and he asks, if you're here, who's protecting Arya? Oh, she says, the only person who needs protection from Arya is anyone who stands in her way. And the Hound replies, it won't be me. I was like, oh,
Oh,
dude. And the little smile
no.
they exchange and stuff. It's just so
Oh,
fucking cute,
yeah.
dog.
I mean,
I love it.
Brienne beat the shit out of this dude. I mean, they kind of beat the shit out of each other for a little bit, but
Yeah.
then Brienne
No, but
really
she got
beat
him.
the
She
shit
got
out
his
of
ass.
him. Thought that he was dead, and then they're like, "All right, well, obviously we're like chill now. No animosity or no beef."
Well, and I appreciate, like, Sandor, the growth this character has undergone
Oh man,
to be able to see her and just be like, hey, man,
yeah.
we had the best interest at heart. I know you fought for the right thing. I know I fought for the right thing.
Damn.
Things happened how they happened.
He really
Uh,
was protecting the Stark girls from the very beginning as well. Sansa and King's Landing at first. Like he's always been a somewhat like a good guy, at like
oh yeah,
he's
he's always had a line,
but
like
not the
he
best guy for sure. He
no,
definitely
no, no,
did
no, no. Like
some
he
fucked up
did,
shit.
he killed the
But
butcher's boy.
mhm,
He wrote him down and stuff. Like that's unquestionable shit
yeah,
dude at the beginning of this show.
yeah.
But like I said, there was a line, like there, and that line at the beginning might have been pretty far down the line. Don't get me wrong, like it,
Mm-hmm.
but it existed. There are characters in the show who don't have a line.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and I guess it was at like the order of Joffrey or,
yeah,
Robert,
no,
I
yeah,
guess at the time. I don't know. Well, no, he wasn't really
no,
ordering
he
them.
always answered directly to Joffrey. That was his.
Okay,
That was
yeah,
his
yeah. So,
leech. Um, but yeah, so like he's got to do what he's got to do. But I appreciate that at some point he packed it in. He said, "Fuck this, fuck you,
fuck the
fuck the king."
king. Yeah.
Yeah. And now he's been on a journey that's created just such one of my favorite and one of the best dudes in this show. So I that line just kind of moved me
Yeah.
deeply, just seeing those two go back and forth about this child who they both cared so much about. And it's funny because Brienne's service for the Stark girls is entirely out of dedication to Catelyn. She barely knows either of them. She barely
Yeah.
knows Arya. So it's fascinating to see the Hound kind of catch up with what Brienne does know about
Mm-hmm.
Arya, and then him be like, he doesn't even actually know all that. He's just kind of like, well, it won't be me. Like that's my dog. That's my girl. I love
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, I went with the Hound for my character for the episode,
Mhm.
and he was already like, I mean, this is the very beginning. I'm like, man, he's starting off pretty good. After that line, I'm like thinking about him, but even just a little bit further, he like hammered it in for sure,
Oh
for
yeah,
character of the episode. But a few more things have to occur first. So
absolutely.
we'll
Yes,
get there.
we'll then arrive at the Dragon Pit, where the various factions meet Cersei Lannister, Jaime, Qyburn, and Euron representing the Iron Throne. Jon, Davos, and Brienne representing the North, and Daenerys' court. And then when Cersei demands to know where her rival is, the Dragon Queen makes a suitably dramatic entrance
Mhm.
on Drogon's back, with Rhaegal flying overhead as well. And Sandor, for the first time in years, comes face to face, or face to helmet, rather, with his brother, the Mountain. And
Oh,
like,
dude,
oh man, you're even uglier than me now, you piece of shit.
dude. right here. This is what I was talking about. I mean,
Yeah.
he saw him walk in whenever Cersei and everyone first walked in. He's like, "Okay, I'll take my seat. The queen's walking in, gotta whatever, pleasantries, fuck it." But like the second that he was able to walk over to his brother, he was like, "All right,
Well, and
I'm
just all the beef in this dragon pit, bro.
Oh my God. Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's crazy that we can even say some of the sentences you're saying. Like when you're just Cersei, Jaime, Qyburn, Euron, then Jon, Davos,
John
Brienne,
Davos
Daenerys,
Brienne.
like
Yeah.
Tyrion. Like it's crazy that we're even saying these names in the same location.
They were in the
But
same place at the same time.
I mean, man,
Everyone.
if
Everyone
this
except for Sansa and Arya is
that's
here.
yeah, okay. And yeah, I guess Bran. No, but Bran's there. Bran is actually there. Because he's
In
everywhere.
spirit.
But no, like if this isn't like the definition of standing on business, like this is like that's the only thing I could think is like this was before the phrase even existed, before it was
Right.
popularized. This was like the most in front of everyone, in front of the most powerful people in the world. The Hound just goes up to the mountain and
He
says,
said,
"You
I need
know."
y'all to calm the fuck down
Yeah.
for a second.
And he's
There
like,
is one thing
"Yeah,
I give a shit about.
the Great War, whatever. Euron and all this other beef, whatever. This I don't give a fuck. My brother, he knows what's coming for him. I'm gonna get him one
Mm.
day." And I don't know. I thought it was just the most badass shit because he has seen a lot of development, but this is definitely like
Oh,
he's never lost this. He'll never
no. This
lose
is the
that.
one area in which he is stunted.
Hmm.
He will not get past this.
Fair
It's
enough,
pointless to get
though.
past this for him at this point.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I
he's
mean,
already held on to this his entire fucking life. And especially with this war coming, it's like there's nothing left to lose.
yeah,
It's about that time.
he's like, I could die very, very soon, and this is the only thing I really care to do still to get done before I die. So I'm just gonna let my intentions be known. Yeah, I thought it was pretty badass. That's when I hammered him in. And I'm like, yeah, no,
I
you're
love it.
taking
Well, and I
you're
also
taking the
love that
character.
he knows it's his time to go do something. So he's like takes that opportunity to go speak to the
Oh,
mountain, and then
okay,
he's
that's what gets
I'm gonna
him to
go
go
grab I'm
down.
gonna
And
go grab the white.
okay, yeah.
Um, yeah, like he's got his moment, so he's like, I'm gonna go here.
Hmm.
But yeah, he ultimately muses, however that what happened to Gregor is irrelevant and promises what's left of him. He intends to end it. Um,
Hmm.
and Tyrion steps up, ready to make a speech. And then Euron,
Yeah.
useless fuck of a fucking character. I hate this guy. But I do love that everyone perceives him as such.
Hmm.
Makes this wonderful. Euron speaks up like, Little Theon, I have your sister. And they just cut to Tyrion, who's just kind of like, and then he looks at Jaime, and Jaime's like, I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
he's
I
like,
don't know.
we got bigger concerns here, dude. And he makes a dwarf joke. He's like, oh, then why are you talking?
Yeah.
Sort
And
of good at
him
first,
looking at
not even
Theon and kind
really.
of being like, Theon, do
Yeah.
you recall our conversation about dwarf jokes?
Hmm.
How everyone who says one thinks they're the first one to ever
Hmm.
say one.
Yeah.
Uh,
His wasn't even good either. And
yeah,
then he
exactly. I
explained the
appreciate
joke.
that little,
Yeah.
you
Uh huh.
know,
Yeah. He's like, it was just so like, what the
he
fuck's going on
explained it
here?
after.
Like,
Never
it's
explain it,
it's
you know?
kind of like the Eddard Stark of the last meeting. Euron's kind of that guy of this meeting right here. Of the guy just be like, can you just sit the fuck down while the important people talk real
Oh,
quick.
yeah,
Or not Eddard. Hello. Not and
also
it's
not a
not
Stark.
even a Stark.
Um,
He's a Tully. It is
yeah, Tully.
fucking
Edward Tully, I'm
yeah.
pretty sure.
Wow. Hello.
Ed
Ed
Muir
Muir
Tully.
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 Both names
Yeah.
wrong. I got the first initial right. I'll give myself that.
First syllable.
Um, Yeah,
give you
okay.
that.
Wow, a couple, yeah, but still
Yeah,
pretty
you
bad.
got
His
first
face,
2
his
letters.
face was in my mind. That's the thing.
No, you knew who you're. I mean, like I was confused, so I'm glad we got it cleared up.
Yeah,
I was
good
like,
old
I
Eddard
don't think
Stark.
Eddard Stark ever did anything
Good
like this.
old Eddard Stark. Yeah.
No, yeah, no, for
mean,
sure though. But even then, it's like at least it's like earnest. Like this is just.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just like
This is just him
douchebag, like kind of
being a fucking
yeah.
douchebag, and he is like. There is a reveal later on in the episode that he's kind of supposed to put on a show. He's supposed to appear insubordinate. He's supposed to appear rash and ridiculous. I don't know if this is a part of that. It would make sense if she was just kind of like, if Cersei instructed him, like, be you, just do your thing.
I mean, because she says that he's off to go and get the Golden Company.
To get the Golden Company.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess she knew that would happen for sure. I think it was just like come up with some reason that you have to leave, like
no, yeah. And I think that like I think that for that to be believable, prior to that, he has to appear to all these people as a loose cannon, basically. He does what he wants when he wants to, doesn't observe any of the formalities. So when Tyrion steps up to talk, he's like, "What's up? I got something to say. Fuck this meeting. I don't care about it that much." Like
actually kind of makes his joke, even though it's whatever, it actually makes it make sense, like actually it actually works pretty well for this meeting then.
It does. But regardless, Euron postures and they have that whole, he tells the joke and Tyrion goes, he explained it after. Never explain it.
Yeah.
It kills the vibe. But a furious Jaime orders Euron to sit down. And when he disregards the warning, Cersei repeats it. And a subdued Euron returns to his seat. And getting the meeting on track, Tyrion and Jon attempt to convince the Lannister queen of the greater threat coming from the north for them all. And according to Tyrion, 1 million people all lived crammed together in this city. They will soon become 1 million more soldiers in the army of the dead. And Cersei's like, now, what the fuck do you mean by that? Her flippancy is noticeably angering Jon. She clearly doesn't give a fuck. And Jon's like, you,
Just wait a couple more seconds, Cersei. Don't worry. We got a present.
I got you. I didn't just come down here to talk, okay? But Cersei refuses to believe the claim, dismissing them as a ploy to trick her into lowering her defenses, luring her armies north so that Daenerys can easily take the capital. And to prove their claim, Sandor returns with a crate, lugging it behind his back.
I mean, dude, just hunking this thing. I mean, I was just love the Hound. I mean, I already hammered him in, but then I'm like, damn, this dude. I'm pretty sure like 3 or like 4 people were dragging this thing with the rope like beyond the wall. Like that was the idea. Not even with the white in it at first. And then this dude's just solo carrying it on his back. I'm like, yeah, dude, the Hound, like, how are you standing out amongst all of these people right
all
now?
of these guys.
I'm like, every time he's on screen, I'm just like, damn, you're just always looking cool or doing something great. So yeah, I don't know. I thought he just was a standout in this episode.
He was, and like that's like you said, difficult thing to do in this crowd, this company, for the Hound to be the highlight is, and I would agree. I think I didn't end up going with a character from this set.
And maybe for the entire episode, he might not be the highlight, but it's just how it started off. It's how they started off the episode. I don't know. So maybe.
It's a strong.
It felt nice.
They fucking get to it, But he returns with that crate, which the crate is uncharacteristically quiet. And Sandor gets the crate open and is visibly frightened by what he sees as he cautiously peers inside and scuttles back, which worries Jaime since he knows the Hound is not afraid of shit. If the hound is slightly frightened by anything, this is alarming. This is a problem. And Cersei watches the proceedings with a dismissively smug smirk as nothing happens when he opens the box. They all kind of look around, and Sandor finally gives the crate a massive kick and knocks it over, and the enraged White promptly clambers out and charges directly towards Cersei, appropriately enough. And completely stunned at the sight of the undead creature, we also see Cersei become uncharacteristically frightened for a moment. Watching her be completely stone-faced, stoic, and get that RBF going hard when she watches the dragon fly in with Daenerys on her back. Like, that ain't shit. She's prepared for that. I got this. When she jumps out of her seat and she's like, is the first step towards Lena Headey being my performance of the episode.
Oh, dude. No, I think there was 2 performances that stood out to me this episode, and she was the other one. But I'll wait for the other. But no, she was great here, and then also Jaime to her side, being completely frozen as well. You know, you'd expect him to, I guess, jump in front. He's the King or Queen's Guard. I guess the Mountain might be the. Is the Mountain just kind of a drone? And then who's like?
Yeah, the Mountain. I think he's like her bodyguard, but I do think Jaime is. I guess
he's like the master of
Lord Commander.
Okay, is he like the master of war right now, or
I don't know?
Because Kevin's fucking dead, right?
Kevin's dead. Jaime is also a general in her army, so
he's
I feel like there was something
general,
seasons back with him. So I think he's the Lord Commander of the Queen's Guard. He's also the general of her armies. So during times of war, I think it's safe to say that the Mountain is probably the de facto leader. The thing is that he can't do much to lead. So I don't take him to be
and there's no other guards. She only needs the one, I think that's also hilarious. But I also love to think that they calculated the length of the chain that they needed the White to be tied on in order to be the perfect distance away from Cersei, to not grab her but scare her the most.
Just works.
This was all just planned out. They're like, okay, we need the Hound. This was all they rehearsed it.
The Hound went down there and was like, I need you to be quiet, buddy. Until I tip you over and pour you out. You go ahead and
I'll set you perfectly on, and we'll mark an X in the sand of where you need to place the box. Put it right there, and then kick it forward, and it'll play perfectly.
It's perfect.
But
it works.
Imagine,
it just works.
Just imagine the Hound walks 5 feet more forward.
Cersei's dead, and that's it. It's over. War ended.
And a beeline straight for Cersei. I think that is kind of funny. To think, my headcanon, the Night King is in there looking at this because it's this is kind of the most important White that exists right now. So it would make sense for him to he wants to know what's going on, and then he's like, "Oh, you're the one I just have to kill. Obviously, I'm just running towards you." So maybe
screech. Yeah, he's shrieking, snarling. Everyone is just, horrified. Basically, Claws inches away from Cersei and manages to slice the creature in half when it turns to attack him. The Hound does. And the Stark and Targaryen delegations watch it emotionlessly, but the Lannisters look on in shock as the White's upper half continues to move, shrieking and snarling, and trying to crawl towards Sandor, who slices off one of its outstretched hands. And after a clearly fascinated Qyburn briefly examines it, he's like, holy fucking shit, this is a dream come true for me. I fucking love this. Love that Qyburn is noticeably horny for this.
Yeah, it's the Mountain. I mean, I did that with him, but this is a whole different level.
It's a different
right
thing
here. He's I gotta study this. I have.
I saved the Mountain from the brink of death, not
that's true.
Not straight up decaying death.
Yes,
So it's a whole other level for him. And John's like, all right, I'll take that. Takes the hand and explains to them, we can stop them with fire.
Yeah,
And he sets a light.
love
Sets a
the
light to the
show.
hand.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
dramatics that they're all showing
It's
up.
gotta be. It's gotta be. And then he goes over to it, lifts up its free arm, and stabs it with dragon glass and says, and with dragon glass. And he bluntly states that if they don't win the coming war, such a fate waits for every person in Westeros, insisting that all their other conflicts pale in comparison to the one true war, the Great War.
I did almost choose it for the line because it was a great delivery.
It's. I mean, like that's. It's just such a hype little bit.
And I just love it that it's coming from John.
There's only one war that matters.
This is like what he is. His whole story is building to. You know, he's the only one who like knows the threat of coming. Yeah, of the North and knows what all's coming, and he's telling everyone, like the people who would not believe it, and now like they are beginning to be like, okay, yeah, this isn't all just stories. You're right. Like even just seeing this one thing, we're like, okay, like shit, like something's that's not right. That is not normal. Should not be here. But you know, Cersei's still thinking very strategically. You know, she's still like, well, I'm still very much, you know, more south. I'm very much more south than you guys. They got to go through you first before we're even touched. So I think she thinks that she's still safe no matter what, even if the threat is real.
I think she thinks either she's safe no matter what, or she's fucked no matter what, and there's nothing she can really do to help either way.
Yeah, if anything,
you know,
the Night King is kind of like her guardian angel, or kind of like a last minute kind of like a possible win for Cersei of the Night King taking out her enemies for her. And then maybe somehow she still survives, but probably not if they take out.
No, yeah, like that's the thing is that I don't think I'm pretty sure that at this point she's going like what Euron says, like we'll just, you know, like can they swim? We'll just sail across the sea. You know, she's going. You know, if all else fails and they make it, we don't stand a fucking chance. Like I don't think she has any hope that she can defeat these motherfuckers. I don't think she thinks she can help in any capacity. And even if they tried to defend King's Landing, I think she'd find a way to not be there when that happens.
Yeah,
in my head,
that's fair. She has Euron right now, and she does. I guess she does say that in a like conversation with Jaime later on. Like, you know, maybe Euron has the right, or no, with Tyrion actually. Later on, but
yeah, no, Daenerys, who's watched the whole thing rather poker faced, states that she didn't believe it herself until she saw them personally. And a horror struck Jaime asks how many are coming, and Daenerys tells him it numbers at least 100,000. And Euron asks, you know, can they swim? And Jon goes, no. Which this is the part whenever last episode becomes a problem.
What do you mean?
They can't swim. How the fuck do they do the stuff that they do last episode and getting Viserion out of the water? So
I guess is that like, swimming, or is that just sinking and walking on the bottom of
that could be that.
Because if they could swim, then the broken ice wouldn't have been a problem. They all could have just swam over, got up, you know, got the
no, yeah, for sure.
Wouldn't have mattered there. And then also, I guess at Hardhome, like it was like a very obvious, you know, there. Like, but you know, also at that point, it's like they're not going to catch up with boats. You know, they're not obviously they're not going to catch up if they all just started swimming. So maybe, you know, maybe.
I'm getting hung up on one little tiny detail from last episode where the whites pop up through the ice and drag Tormund in.
Yeah, maybe they can.
It's impossible without swimming.
That's the thing is maybe they can. It's just that they don't.
They haven't.
Like we don't truly know like everything about that. We just know that they are a force of death and it's not to be fucked with. It's like, but they
Mhm.
don't. I mean, like they just assumed like, oh yeah, kill that one, all the rest go down. It's just kind of like they hope
Yeah.
that's the answer. But they
Right.
uh
Yeah, and like, when it comes to, like, Hard Home, why they don't swim it's pointless to like, the Night King's smart enough to know that it's
yeah, it's like,
pointless to swim
all
out there.
right,
They're not gonna catch up to those
they're
boats
gone.
swimming.
Yeah, they're gone.
You know,
No,
like,
no need.
and
Um,
also, like, it makes a statement. It's like, y'all better fucking
Yeah, and also
beware.
the King's Landing waters or waters more south, like that'd be like a hot tub for these White Walkers. I feel like
That's
it, you
true.
know, they'd have no problem swimming in this water. Um,
No, but, like, so, there's just been, like, these itty bitty inconsistencies with the swimming of the whites thing. So, like, for them to have expressly been like, "Can they swim?" No, they cannot. Um,
they can't
and for
swim.
that to not be a setup for anything, either, you
Hmm,
know? I know it's a setup for Euron to go to the Essos
to
and get the
say he
Golden
can
Company,
leave, yeah, but to actually not see the
but
whites or do anything with
this
swimming
is one of those
or something
things
like
that is
that.
a consequence of the last season being 6 episodes and there not being
Hmm.
like, one of the main critiques I understand of the last season, for the most part, is that the White Walker conflict is solved in an episode.
Yeah.
We start the battle, battle over, White Walkers eliminated, nothing left. Um, I'm fine with that. I think it works the way that they've decided to tell the story, with the
Mm-hmm.
time they had allotted for 6 episodes left. You deal with that half the season, you deal with the other half of the season. Works for the 6 episode structure. Would a retreat to the Iron Islands to regroup and reassess and try to figure out a new way to take out this threat not have kind of worked? You know, like a sprawling
Mm.
several battles all throughout Westeros,
Yeah.
or like maybe 2 even battles throughout Westeros,
Yeah,
would be
because I
fucking
guess
cool.
the first big battle the Night King fought, he lost. Like he did go through those other castles, I guess, but they weren't
There weren't
trying
battles.
to. Yeah, they weren't trying
And a lot of
protect.
those castles had already retreated south. They're already coming to the north. They're already coming to Winterfell because they know that this is the coming war. They know that this is what's happening.
Damn.
Uh,
Yeah, I guess we just couldn't have had like if that battle was lost, it had to have been like they escaped somewhere, and it could have been really cool if it was like, hey, let's go to the Iron Islands, yeah, and then like because I had a visual of like maybe the follow through on they can't swim, is they can't swim, but they have just the sheer number to send in troops to build a body with the dead,
yeah,
or build a
yeah.
bridge with the bodies that they can just walk across. Maybe not like
Mhm.
across an ocean, that's a little bit too far fetched, but like
Yeah, we
say
don't know
the
how
Iron
far Iron
Islands,
Islands
like
are.
you're jumping from like just I don't know, they get to like a little island and they have water in between them. They think they're safe, but then they just keep like flooding bodies in so that they can just keep getting a little bit further and further. And then they're like, okay, well maybe they can't swim, but they have other ways,
Yeah, they got
of
their
shit.
shit. They got
But
something going on. No, but,
would have
like,
been cool.
so that is one of those lines that's just kinda like, when you think about, like, how that doesn't go anywhere, that does kinda suck, you know? I would have loved for the White Walker threat.
Oh,
Really, I would have loved for the last season to be 2 seasons.
I guess it is kind of fair. I guess some of them can swim and some of them definitely can't. Depends on how dead you are. Because if you're a
That's fair.
skeleton, you're
Yeah,
not
you can't
floating.
swim.
You literally just can't float. But if you have some skin left, like if you have all your skin and air in your
That's
lungs,
fair.
I guess so. I guess it depends on how dead you are. But you probably deteriorate pretty quick in the north, north of the wall.
Gotta imagine so.
So
Gotta
maybe
imagine
that's
so.
why. Maybe there's like, yeah, well they're dead, and most of them are skeletons. So no, they can't swim.
Nah, but
Uh,
like a panicked retreat where they have to regroup quickly because they will just continue marching south, you know,
Is the Iron
maybe
Islands
this way.
south of Winterfell? Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I think
Yeah,
so.
they retreat south, but the army of the dead just keeps marching south, so Maybe, we end up getting some sort of pincer
Oh,
movement at the walls of King's Landing, the King's Landing
damn.
forces, the Stark and Northern forces coming up from behind from the Iron Islands, like that could
Dude,
be
that
that
could
could
have
be
been
hard.
so cool. We could have just gone like down the King's Road, like the journey we took at the beginning of season one. Like imagine if we saw
Yeah.
the Night King take that journey, basically,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
something. And we see him like, cause
No, but then so
oh
that's the thing is that I think what they did works for the fact that they had 6 episodes.
yeah,
If that's all you got, the
ah,
way they did it is the way they're gonna have to, like, that's just how it's gonna
damn,
have to happen.
damn,
And that kinda sucks. If it was even 2 6-episode seasons or, 2 5-episode seasons, you can pull something like that off
dude. Cause
pretty
I'm
safely.
imagining, cause like on the way down, you have Moat Kalen, which we had a little bit with Ramsey, and we saw that, so it would have been like, whatever to see that. But like the twins, to see like the Night King pass through the twins, and like it could have been cool, like, cause the reason the twins is so powerful is like you have to walk through the bridge if you want to like have your armies cross or whatever.
Mhm.
But say he just like freezes the whole shit. So like it just doesn't even matter. They just walk across like
Yeah,
it just
exactly.
doesn't matter. Like they just they're just they push forth
No,
and
yeah,
like
so, like,
oh
that is
that
that is one of the only, like, I love season 8, episode 3. I do. It's one of my
mm-hmm.
favorite episodes of the
Yeah.
entire show, so, like, I'm glad we got that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we got that, but this was the first scene of the first
Dang.
episode of the show. Was the threat of the White Walkers,
That's
and the
true.
idea that they never make it further south than Winterfell.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it makes sense. Winterfell, that's where winter fell.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I get it. Um,
Damn. Damn. Maybe the Night King just he that's where he hung out. Maybe he gets to
his base of
Winterfell
operations.
and that
Yeah.
that tree, that god, or I always forget the name of the trees. Yeah,
Yeah,
if it's a
the
God's
fucking,
wood, but I feel like that's like the
yeah,
whole
that's the
area.
whole
But
area.
the
Yeah,
the
I can't.
world, I think it's a W. I don't know, but
It is.
the
It's like a
pretty ass trees. Weirwood,
werewood tree? Yeah, werewood
Weirwood.
tree.
Yeah, that sounds right. But maybe like that one is special, and the Night King stays there. That's where he hunkers down, so that you could go more south, but then they have to have this suicide run of going back, north of enemy lines to kill the Night King at Winterfell or something. I don't know. Could have been
No,
cool.
but, like, so all that to say, like, it's not necessarily a critique of the show, just sort of a consequence of there only being 6 episodes left after this. It's like,
Mm,
there's only so much we can do in that time. It would have been nice if we had more time. Yeah, so I wanna make that clear. It's not necessarily me going like, well, this show is bad because of that, I think that, like, they did good with what they did. It's just,
mm-hmm.
there could have been more there.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, yeah, they reveal that the army numbers in the 100,000s, and Euron asks if they can swim, and Euron announces, "You know what? Never mind. I'm going. I'm not fucking sticking around. Fuck that. I'm going back to the Iron Islands, and I'm gonna wait it out. And you know what? You should go too," tells Daenerys. "When it's all over, we'll be the only 2 left standing." Um, and I was like, "You know what? That's kinda hard. It's kinda hard."
Mm-hmm.
But, seemingly convinced, Cersei immediately offers terms. Satisfied that Daenerys is concerned with the army of the dead, Cersei will not withdraw her troops, but will guarantee that they will not hinder the Targaryen or Northern forces in any way during the battle against the White Walkers. And she refuses to deal with Daenerys at all, however, and calls on Jon Snow, the king in the north and Eddard Stark's son, to keep the truce. Because if there's anybody who can keep a truce, it's Ned Stark's son. Um, and I appreciate that even Cersei knows that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Even
Even Cersei's
though,
like,
that we killed your father, in main stage in front of everyone. I still know that you're still that honorable that you'll be a man of your word. Yeah, it's like It's
No,
crazy.
because and then it reminds you of the conversations that Cersei and Ned had at the beginning of the show, like in season 1, when they would meet in like the gardens and they'd have their conversations, and
Oh,
he'd confront her and he'd be too honorable, he'd let his hand go, and like this is exactly the same, bro. And it's
mm.
just it's so good, it's so fucking good. But
Man.
yeah, reveals to all assembled here, Jon does, he wants Cersei wants him to stay out of any and all conflict in the future between her and Daenerys. The North cannot take part. And you get it. You've seceded. Like you're good. The North can be its own kingdom. You stay the fuck out of it though.
Mm-hmm.
And Jon, honorable as can be, says that he cannot serve two queens,
Mm-hmm.
and reveals to all assembled that he has already declared for the Targaryen army, infuriating all three Lannisters there.
And Daenerys.
Yes,
Kind of everyone. It was kind of the wrong answer for everyone. Everyone was like, "Oh, dude, why'd you have to say that? Like, can you just lie one time, man?"
yeah.
And yeah, but I don't
Well, and
know.
it's just like it's one of those things where he's Ned Stark's son, and he can't lie. But if he knew that there was like one major, very honorable lie he told,
That's true. Even Ned Stark lied. At this.
for the right reasons,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or
So
well,
like that's
told to lie.
true.
Technically, he kept a promise. He kept a promise from his sister. So like, it's not like is it a lie? He's lying for the promise that he's keeping, sort of thing. So it's
That's I mean,
maybe that's
yes.
how
That
he.
doesn't I don't think that negate I think the word lie has a naturally negative connotation.
Mm-hmm.
But he did lie. Like he didn't tell the
Yeah.
truth. Um
Yeah.
it's
He's
and I
not
don't think it
the.
was strictly a bad lie.
Oh, what's the
But
line of like stepfather? Like, he's not the father. He's not
he's not
the
the stepfather, he's the father who stepped up.
stepped up. Yeah, it's I don't know, and you have like, not to say that Rhaegar
Rhaegar.
would have been a bad father. Seemed like a cool guy and all, but we know Ned is pretty chill
It's a great dad right there.
and really really cool. But so
Well, and I mean like in a perfect world, Rhaegar and Lyanna getting married probably could have actually solved the conflict instead of spurring it. Um, it was literally just Robert's ego and just Robert's
yeah,
wrath
it's kind of Robert being
that
like, "Oh, you don't like I want the girl, so I'll start a war because of
yeah.
that."
No, and I
Um,
mean like they needed to rebel against the Mad King, don't get me wrong,
mhm.
but at some point there should have been some sort of peace terms with Rhaegar at the head, kind of being like, "Hey, I'm pretty well renowned as a good dude. What if we made some sort of alliance,
Mm,
huh?"
yeah. Yeah, that's why it'd be very interesting to see the prequel to this show. I guess House of the Dragon is a prequel, but the immediate prequel
No,
to.
yeah, because I mean, like this, we've witnessed this with all sorts of stuff within this show. Even is that their understanding of history is just that, just an understanding. There's nobody who knows the truth of Robert's Rebellion besides like a few people. Like
That's yeah. Dang. I guess like
so
so
there's
it
like
was
all
the
sorts of shit.
facade
There's
was
all sorts of shit
like.
that could have happened that gets told down the line. That's just not true. The classic history is written by the victors, so it's just,
Hmm.
how much can we
It's
believe, etc.
yeah, it's all the Mad King. Like, is that like what people think? Is that it's all because of the Mad King and they just needed to rebel against him?
Yes, yes.
And
And frankly, that would on its own be enough. Like
yeah,
that is enough. Like if you want to rebel against the dude who wants to burn everybody, good call. Do it.
But the next line of,
That's-
you would follow the line of success. You would maybe just kill the current king, but then it would.
But they do show that Westerosi lords at all nowadays hesitate to trust any Targaryen. So maybe they're worried that Rhaegar just cannot be trusted. He is the Mad King's son after all.
Yeah, I guess that would be kind of hard.
Nobody listens to women, so Lyanna being like, "No, he's a good guy," wouldn't fucking matter. So,
war.
Yeah,
it was inevitable.
'Twas going to happen. But yeah, I just like to, imagining that Jon grew up in the home he did, with a father who cared about him and taught him really, really well, and a mother who fucking despised him. I can only imagine how much better he could have turned out with a loving mother and father. Because he's already great. He could have been even greater, arguably. I don't know. Maybe that adversity was something he had to overcome. I don't know. There's all sorts of shit. Nature versus nurture. Who the fuck knows? But regardless, sorry to get off on that tangent.
No, it makes sense though. I mean, who knows? He could have turned out more stuck up if he knew who he was, and so maybe his childhood is what made him who he
necessary
is. But
form the persona of.
You don't like to think that, you don't want to think that like, oh, you have to go through hell in order to become, literally die. You have to actually die in order to become the man you are today. But probably would have been better, yeah, if the marriage was just allowed and or not secretive, and he wasn't a secret baby. But
baby.
Yeah, secret babe.
Regardless, there's all sorts of stuff. I think that you made a good point about him not growing up spoiled. Growing up
like Viserys,
as the last option.
No, not Viserys. That's House of the Dragon.
That's also her brother.
No, that's the dragon. Oh, it is. They're both Viserys.
Her brother is also Viserys. Okay. Viserys the second or third.
I don't think Jon would have been like him. I think he's a different level of stuck up, but I feel like I don't know, maybe if he knew he was Aegon, like the true heir to the Iron Throne, I think that gets.
I think it's only natural.
He's like a Tommen. I feel like the reason, like a Tommen at his age, at a younger age, maybe.
Yeah, no, it's always interesting to kind of contemplate that sort of situation, because Tommen was not the rightful heir, though.
Yeah.
So he wasn't brought up.
Okay.
Like, true. I'm going to be king.
That's fair.
So that's just like all those sorts of things also come into play for me. It's just kind of like,
damn. Yeah, Game of Thrones.
If he is the one true heir, does he turn out as good as? Because you go from being the absolute first fucking option across everybody in the entire world. You are the first option for the next one to be the king of everybody. That gets to you a little bit. In the North, the last option. Like, it's not even a fucking chance in his mind. So like there's just like the way you're brought up with that mentality is gotta have a
he was going the other direction. He was like, I'll join the wall. I'll take the black. That's what I want to do. So damn. Yeah, a Game of Thrones what if series could be really cool.
Yeah, no shit.
What if Bran didn't, what if Jaime didn't?
I would only like a Game of Thrones what if series if it was like written by George R.R. Martin.
Yeah.
Like he decided what would happen if things went a different way,
Yeah, we need to have someone sit down George and just ask him a bunch of what if questions, and then we just need to make a bunch of animated episodes.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe he'd be like, well, that wouldn't happen. It just happened the way it happened, like, so you never know. But regardless,
we'll have to rewrite it all.
After this, after Jon's honorable ass is like, yeah, no, I already swore towards Daenerys, so sorry. Cersei's like, okay, very well, no truce. If it's just you guys, we're good. I'm gonna leave. War's on. See you guys later. And Cersei storms out, content to let the Starks and Targaryens battle the undead alone. and then deal with whoever emerges victorious from that conflict. And desperate, Brienne grabs Jaime and begs him to reconsider, as what they've seen goes beyond such petty reasons as houses, honor, and thrones.
Coming from
And
Brienne,
Jaime doesn't.
that's
Ooh,
that's like for real. The most
yeah,
oathful or oath keeping person in the
yeah.
show.
Fuck oaths.
Mhm.
Basically, she's like, forget it. Like there's
That's
something
Brienne's
coming.
way of saying fuck
Yeah,
the queen. Right now,
yeah,
fuck these queens. We gotta live,
yeah.
man. But
And he's like, you have to say something. Or she's like, you have to say something. He goes, what would you have me say?
yeah,
Like he's like very clearly terrified of Cersei, which is
yeah. I mean, yeah, I think anyone would
and these
do.
little glances, when Brienne shows up and glances at Jaime, Jaime locks eyes with her. Cersei looks at Jaime, Jaime looks at Cersei, and he kind of goes,
Fuck.
does the little gulp.
He's like, oh shit. I
And
hope I'm not in trouble for that. Yeah.
he observes them talking to each other, and he's like, I gotta fucking go. My sister wife wants to beat the shit out of me.
Oh god. Yeah, no, it's great. And whenever Tyrion gets up there, he's like, yeah, no, I was talking at her. I couldn't actually get any words in. She wasn't listening to me. I was the one being talked to. But yeah, no, Cersei's not the one to mess around with anymore.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. But all the while, Daenerys and Tyrion, never having learned of Jon's change of heart in the first place, had no idea. Nobody knew he'd declared for Daenerys besides Daenerys. It's not like he was, it's just hysterical. I love him. I love how honorable he is. Stupid as fuck. I love it. Stupid as fuck. He's like, I gotta say, man, you fucked up there, Tyrion says, and I got to, he suggests that, learning to lie just a little might be a good skill. And Daenerys points out that if they leave without an alliance, everything they've sacrificed, including one of her dragons, will be worthless.
And then
and
Jon delivers
responds,
kind of a bar here, almost a line that I went with. I didn't write it down, but I liked whenever he was like, what, like I can't, like, if everyone lies, then like words mean nothing. It's like words stop meaning anything, and we all, we all got to start living this way. I don't know. He was something along those lines, but just the part where he was like,
if no one is willing to speak the truth, then everyone's word is worthless, and lies will not help them win the coming fight.
Yeah.
And
still, maybe not the right decision in the time.
Yeah,
but...
Tyrion's like, you know what? Maybe you're right, but the more pressing concern is that we're fucked.
We're fucked, dude. He's like, shit, we are fucked. And Daenerys is like, we kind of are right now.
But yeah, Tyrion's like, I'm gonna go talk to her. And Daenerys and Jon are like, no, that is stupid as shit. That's even stupider than what I just did, Jon says, basically.
Yeah.
They're like, Cersei's probably going to kill your ass. And Tyrion's like, yeah, but she'd certainly kill any of you.
Yeah.
Jon
be like, I'll go talk to her. Yeah, I'll go talk to her. And he's like, oh, no, she will 100% kill you, Jon, especially right after what you just did. And...
yeah, like, you're stupid as fuck. So Tyrion, he recognizes he stands the best chance. It's the only way if they don't want everything they've done to be for nothing. So Tyrion takes off and heads for the Red Keep, where he is escorted by Ser Gregor and meets Jaime coming from the other direction, who confirms that he believes the threat of the dead, but has been unable to convince Cersei. And he only accomplished talking at her until she denounced him as an idiot and threw him out of her office. And Tyrion quips that he is the bigger idiot of the two brothers, as he's about to willingly enter a room with a woman who has tried to kill him twice that he knows of. And Jaime, aware that this could be their final meeting, wishes Tyrion luck before stepping aside to let Tyrion enter Cersei's office. And thus my favorite scene of the episode begins. It's been a while since this was pretty consistently one of the highlights of the first 4 seasons were one-on-one conversations between Peter Dinklage and Lena Headey. And to get that for the first time since season 4, it's been almost 30 episodes since this last happened, at least.
Yeah. And a thing hit me this watch that he's wearing like the hand of the queen thing, on it, for Daenerys, obviously. But I feel like in this situation, if Tyrion did not kill Tywin, and Cersei knew that it was Olenna that killed Joffrey, I think Tyrion is her hand. Like I think that that would be who Cersei would choose, even like she still hates him,
even
but
though
like
she despises him.
I think maybe would be her hand. Because is it currently Qyburn? Is Qyburn
It is
the
Qyburn.
hand?
It is Qyburn.
Because he's
It's her
the
hand.
master of whispers. I guess they don't really have the true small council.
There's no real true council.
A lot of
right
double dipping, even triple dipping at some points. But it kind of was
it's
like
basically Cersei, Qyburn, and Jaime. They do everything.
yeah.
And
the mountain's just there. He's just kind of like a
Mhm.
drone. At this point, but yeah, no,
if there's anything this episode proves, it's that there's something holding her back from 1000% holding nothing in her heart but hate for her brother. Like he's when he walks in there and he's like, then do it.
Yeah.
And stands in front of the mountain, is ready to die.
And whenever, that moment, oh my god, like Lena Headey, I'm glad that like she's getting a performance nod because it was
she's
incredible. Like just her like teeth kind of like she's like
gnashing,
contemplating it, I want to do it, but like fuck, like damn, I can't.
Yeah, no,
I can't kill my brother. I
don't think you're 100% wrong. I do think that Tywin.
Killing Tywin throws a wrench into things for sure.
Yeah, no, like that's permanent. I don't think there's any coming back from that. But
just if Tywin died of either maybe
different
at
cause.
war in battle, not by Tyrion, I think that he would be her hand, and it was kind of cool seeing like he is kind of advising her as a hand right now. Like it's kind of more of like out of desperation for Daenerys. It is like, hey, like we're fucked. We can't have this be the current. We can't leave like this. Yeah. But also it's kind of like, hey, like you will have nothing. Like nothing will be here, and I think this scene puts the pregnancy like if it's up in the air to rest. I don't think she fakes this to Tyrion. I think this was like she was getting worked up, and like I think it was this like she's pregnant. Like there's no, it's not a play just to get Jaime back on her side. I don't think. I think this is the thing that she's holding on to. She is like.
You also don't think it's a ploy to get Tyrion to trust her?
No way. Is she that? She would.
But that's why I'm like, I think that they do a really good job. I disagree with the idea that it puts it to rest. I do think that it can aid either argument, though. Like I do think
the Jaime interaction, it's definitely up in the air because it's like very quick right after she's like, never betray me again. It's like, okay, a little weird, but there was that moment they had and it was nice. But this felt like when Tyrion was like, you're pregnant, she was like, I don't know, like the reaction, it was already emotional. Already they're talking about, Tywin being dead, her kids being dead. No, I loved those kids. I did. Like there's a bunch of emotions going around and she's, it felt like, I don't know. It felt more real, like way more real.
I can get with that. I can. Just her love for her children is the one thing Tyrion has ever believed from her. So if she agrees to go north to defend the future, he believes she's doing that because of her kid.
Oh my god. No, that that would be the perfect reason.
So he's like, if she says she's coming north, she's coming north. We're good, you know? And then she's like, no, I'm not going to fucking do that, you know? So, like, again, your logic makes sense, but I don't think it puts the idea
You're
to
right. It's not
rest
100%.
necessarily,
It
you
just
know?
it might be leaning more towards that she actually is, but
But
it's
yeah, there's still that, like, is she? You know, like, that's so, and I
eh,
don't think they ever do anything to confirm that, you know?
yeah, because I mean, she definitely doesn't get far enough along.
Yeah, I mean,
She's
this show's
we're
ending
almost there.
timeline-wise
Yeah.
within a month,
So
maybe 2. Well, I mean, the travel up the King's Road takes months. They go all the way back up to Winterfell. That's where we start next season.
hmm
And, you know, they're not really observing the logic of time during during these last 2 seasons. Um,
oh, I guess with hard riding. So I don't know what that means. You can get there in 18 days. I guess is the fast travel. But
yeah, I
it
think
looks
hard riding is just like they are fucking
just
horseback, just
booking it the whole way. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
no,
So,
they've got like 100,000 in numbers, marching up the
uh,
King's Road. Um,
yes. In season one, Cersei says to Robert, "We've been riding for a month, my love. Surely the dead can wait." So about
okay,
a month, maybe, if
a
you're
month.
just taking
So
a stroll.
then let's say I mean, like, that means it's like 2 months before the end of the show from this point,
hmm
because they go up north, they're there for, like, a week, defeat the
So
Night
she
King,
would
come south.
start to show just like the slightest baby bump,
Yeah,
at this.
she would
So,
not be showing,
yeah.
but she'd be a little bit, you know,
Maybe she knew. Maybe that's why she came up with the lie. She knows, like, yeah, if this is all true, then I'll be dead before I'll even start showing.
yeah.
So, okay, wow. I'll
No,
put.
but regardless, just this whole interaction, you know, Cersei mocks, Tyrion's affection for another foreign whore who doesn't know her place. Um,
This,
and Tyrion quips
yeah.
that Cersei must be frustrated Daenerys isn't someone she can beat, abduct, or intimidate, as she did before, and Cersei changes tact, angrily blaming the murder of Tywin for the series of events that led to her younger children's deaths, and Tyrion being like, hey, Tywin deserved to die, but you know I loved your children. They were so dear to me. I loved them, and almost as much as she did. But and he regrets what happens to them, and he attempts to call Cersei's bluff, claiming that if Cersei genuinely blamed him for their deaths, then Gregor should kill him right then and there. And he steps up to the mountain. Cersei thinks about it. Um, Gregor lifts the blade a little bit, and then nothing happens. Um, Cersei refrains from giving the order, and relieved, Tyrion heads straight for the wine, shaking as he pours himself a glass.
Yeah. It's like
And they continue their discussion.
the good stuff now. I don't know. I don't know if the better wine is in Essos. I don't know, but like I feel like this was him kind of being like, finally, I get the good shit again. Like the shit I've been used to. I don't know. But
Yeah, I take it that Dornish is like the ideal wine in the world. Like that's the best shit.
that makes sense. They got all the good shit down there.
They do. They
So
do.
yeah, I believe
They
that.
got it on them like that.
Um,
But
but no, it was
yeah,
funny.
no,
Yeah,
he heads straight for the wine.
giving
Cersei's
her a
performance
glass
in that
too. Yeah.
moment and his performance in that moment also very good. But Tyrion loses patience. You know, he Cersei angrily accuses Tyrion of plotting to bring down House Lannister with the help of Jon and Daenerys, and Tyrion retorts that he didn't know Jon had sworn allegiance to Daenerys, and that without his intervention, Daenerys would have razed the Red Keep to the ground with everyone inside it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I can assure you that if I was not here, important note, he says, if I'm not here and she's not listening to me, she would burn this bitch to the ground. And
Mm-hmm.
no, she eventually does. Um,
Yep. Yeah, she does. Cersei being like, okay, well, what the fuck then? I thought you said that she's like chill or that she's gonna change the world, and
And he says, "I do think she will." And Daenerys knows herself. That's why she elected me as her hand. She selected me because she knew I'd curb her worst impulses. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Unlike Cersei, who freely indulges her worst impulses without a thought. And Cersei retorts that her only interest is protecting those she cares about, musing if Euron didn't have the right idea to flee somewhere safe with those who matter. At which Tyrion realizes Cersei is pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
But then, back at the Dragon Pit, we get a really well photographed conversation between Daenerys and Jon, discussing the dragons. Their little one-on-one in the corner. I like the idea that everyone else is just kind of standing there, that like they just kind of keep looking over, like, what they got going on,
Yeah.
what they cooking over there. That's a king and queen right there.
Like
That's a big combo.
this was an act like a scene. It's short and sweet, but it was a scene.
Good, good.
Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Potential. Here. And I don't know. It is kind of like yours. You said it's just back to those conversations. One on one, and the best of the best usually was between Peter Dinklage and Lena Headey. It's just you can't get much better than that. But I loved this little moment here. They're Daenerys being like, hey, I'm cool. Like, I'm glad. Like, thank you. I like what you did, man. But like, still, I don't know.
Like,
And
come on now.
um,
Yeah, I love that. I love their chemistry. It's an interesting chemistry because I wouldn't uh I wouldn't go so far as to say it's the best chemistry these actors have had with anybody by any
mhm,
means. I think Kit Harington had better chemistry with Rose Leslie, naturally.
yeah.
They're married.
hmm
Um, but I also think that Amelia Clark had better chemistry with Michael Huisman as Dario Naharis and stuff like that. So there's this interesting, almost like, because the chemistry still works. It's almost like they're just kind of accepting that this feels inevitable. Like they're
Mm,
just kind of like they're flirting,
yeah.
while still being a king and queen, like they have to maintain appearances to a certain degree, but when they let their guard down a little bit and let that slide
Mm,
through, it feels really, really good, whenever she they kind of they nag each other a little bit. They're like, but you know, they discuss the dragons and how her ancestors caged them and in turn became less impressive as the power of the dragons waned. Um, and
mhm,
just a couple Targaryens talking about dragons. And Jon questions Daenerys's assertions of infertility, particularly when she admits that she never got
yeah.
an informed opinion about her condition from anyone except a witch.
That's where my line actually
Yeah,
comes in here. You know, Daenerys even says kind of like she doesn't believe it herself, but she says, who told you this? Who told you you're infertile? She says, the witch who murdered my husband is the way Daenerys puts it, which I think is
yeah.
hilarious. And then Jon says, well, has it ever occurred to you that she might not have been a reliable source of information? A little maybe just, is this him like just being honest and being like, hey, well, maybe you can, or like, hey, do you want to try, sort of thing, like you
Yeah, no, I take it
um
to be more of a like. I think that I mean, they're clearly clicking. They
mhm,
have they have a lot of chemistry. I think that they know that. Um, More than anything, I genuinely think this is an altruistic choice from Jon. I don't think he's trying to be like, let's give it a shot.
mhm.
I think they just talked
He's like,
about
hey,
how her
don't give up
dragon
on that.
died and
Yeah, like,
those are her children, and he's just trying to be like, maybe it's possible, maybe
mhm.
don't give up all hope because the witch who killed your husband said it's
Yeah.
impossible.
True. Yeah. Just
But
okay, I see. Yeah, I
no, yeah,
but
great.
it can be an angle, like the angle
Oh
of
yeah,
being
for
like
sure. And I think it is for the audience.
mhm.
This is another one of those allusions to something that, with 6 episodes left, can't fucking pay off. Um,
Yeah, that's why, like, I think the line from Daenerys, her saying "the witch who murdered my husband," like, I don't think she would put it like that. It's just it sets up the line from Jon, to
mhm.
make it deliver harder. But like, I feel like I don't know. I feel like Daenerys wouldn't put it that way. That she would like, cause she actually believes this. You know, she actually maybe I don't know. Maybe she's in
I think she's
denial,
kind of
or
conceding,
it's kind of like a
you know.
fearful. She doesn't want to go through that again, or
Mm,
there's a whole lot of things that it could be.
yeah, no,
But
I think she's kind of conceding that it does sound ridiculous. You know, she's like,
hmm,
yeah, the witch who murdered my husband. You know, like,
okay,
she's
like
like,
she knew
there's
what
no
John was
way
gonna
around
say.
it.
Yeah,
That
she like
is who told her
yeah,
that.
mm-hmm,
You
yeah.
know, she's just kind of like, yeah, the witch who murdered my husband. That's who told me that.
All right, fair enough,
Uh,
John. Yeah, touche.
all right, John.
Um,
Shit. But yeah, this is just another example of one of those lines that clearly I feel like is meant to set up their thing.
mhm.
Especially given the end of this episode, feels even more like they're trying to go like they're gonna
They're
have
making a
kids, you know,
baby.
like they are going. Yes, they are making a baby.
Cersei being
And
pregnant here as well, or
yeah,
maybe,
there's a lot,
like,
right? No,
yeah,
like there. It's just fascinating to set up all these threats. Frankly, I didn't want that. I didn't want Daenerys to be pregnant with John's baby. I don't desire that storyline. I don't think it's necessarily the correct way to go where they're at this time. They undeniably though set up threads for that's what they were going to do.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. It's
like
just
that
maybe it
is
is not the right time. That's definitely true, and I think both of them would kind of see that. It would have to be kind of like, well, we're just in love, we fucked, she's pregnant,
yeah.
and then like, all right, we got to deal with it now.
Mhm.
But I think they would both want to wait until all of this is over, sort
And
of
that's
thing.
again, like they're setting up stuff. Like we discovered this like last week or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember that the last season was confirmed to be 6 episodes. They announced these two together, season 7 and 8. They were like, season
Yeah,
7 is 7 episodes, season 8 is 6 episodes. We're doing this thing. Why the fuck are you setting up stuff that's going to take way more than 6 episodes?
yeah, yeah. I guess maybe red herrings, maybe to throw people off, or to
But these don't even
because
really pay off in any
that's the
capacity.
thing, is that like the reason it like took over so much, I feel like, is because everyone and their mother was trying to guess how the show ended. Like, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I've never seen people gravitate towards how a show is going to end more than anything. Like, everyone was putting out their theory. Like, and then like George R. R.
Mhm.
Martin saying, "Oh yeah, I've seen one of them's right." Like on Reddit, yeah, one of you got it, but I don't, he didn't say which one, obviously, and I feel like that just threw a fire into it. It's like, oh,
Oh,
someone's
yeah.
got it out there.
Fueled it.
We got it. We got to look at
No, yeah, and that
everything,
was a
but
lot of fun,
um,
and, like and I do think that it's undeniable that in these last 2 seasons, they are leaning into that
hmm maybe a little
hard.
too much. Yeah, a
Exactly,
lot
like,
too much,
if
maybe.
if that is how you are if you are writing the show based off the idea that again, happened all fucking season with Sansa and Arya. If the only reason you are writing things the way you are writing things is to subvert expectations, it's gotta serve some sort of grander purpose, that subversion of expectations, especially in a situation like this. There's not even remotely a payoff for this whole thread of the story where they're like, have you ever considered that maybe she has hammered that home this season.
hmm
These are my children. I will never have any other children. John goes, maybe you're wrong. Maybe you will. That is possible. And then so everyone goes on like, oh, Daenerys is gonna be pregnant with John's baby. Oh yeah,
hmm
yeah.
The only follow through with it is that they have sex, but she was having sex before. It's not like you can only have sex if you're wanting to have kid.
No, yeah.
So yeah, it
But
is a
that
weird.
fuels that theory then. That's what that like
Yeah,
that's not even like
it's
a
like
payoff.
they're
That's just
laying the seeds,
building
and
that
then they're
theory.
taking the next steps, like
Yes,
for it,
exactly.
and
And
yeah.
that dies on the fucking vine, which is, I mean, like,
Mhm.
again, I didn't want that storyline, but if that is what you are writing, fucking write it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's just been like the one I've appreciated Daenerys and Jon and season 7 storyline over there a lot. I've liked it a great deal. That has been the one
Mhm.
thing that's been like disappointing to kind of come back to, is just
Yeah.
being like, y'all are not, I mean, because they even, I mean, historically, the show has been like, Targaryens do this. It's fine. You know, like, this is how Targaryens get down. They have kids. They get married. They do this. So you have that in mind at the end of the episode when it's revealed as they are having sex. So it's like there's just all this stuff that's like, they are going to have kids. They are going to get married. They are going to be king and queen.
Yeah.
And at a certain point,
Yeah.
subverting, like, none of that happens. Subverting expectations that hard,
Quite the opposite
quite the
happens.
opposite. Daenerys ends up dead and Jon becomes a wildling.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, like, literally,
and
like,
he kills her.
mhm.
So like,
Yeah.
that's,
Maybe killed her and a baby. Who knows? Yeah, maybe Daenerys was actually pregnant.
and that would have been
Um,
even more devastating, you know?
yeah.
They don't even slightly allude to the fact that that might be happening. So like,
Nope. Because her body, Drogon just takes her. See you
mhm.
later. She's just who knows? Maybe they're, the goal was to do the same thing as Jon. She has to die as well. She'll be resurrected, and then this is how she can have a baby again. Because I don't know, I don't
No, but
know,
like
but
that's
like not going to be
so
accomplished in a 7
in a
episodes and
6
six
episode
episode
season.
season. So
Yeah,
yeah.
like that's why I'm like, you can write all this if you have any intention of following through on it. And
Hmm.
in 6 episodes, that was another concern. Remember going into the last season and going, how the fuck? How the fuck are they gonna conclude this in 6
Yeah,
episodes?
and then by episode
It's because
3,
they couldn't.
you're like,
Because they couldn't.
oh, we're here. We thought this would be the finale, like, and then you're like, how the what the fuck else? Where else are we going? It's like,
Especially
uh,
and I appreciate, like, a couple of my favorite episodes of season 8 are the first 2 episodes, because they give you time to breathe. They are all set up. They are all build up.
mhm.
And then all that gets paid off in episode 3, and then you go, "Oh wait, we spent the first half of the season doing kind of nothing until the Battle of Winterfell." And then you go, "Oh my god, how the
It's
fuck are we gonna wrap that up in 3 episodes now?" You know, so like, it's just
yeah,
all sorts of shit that it could not have possibly been wrapped up in the time they wanted to wrap it up. Not satisfyingly, or
definitely not.
not well. Because I like the ending. I generally like the outline of what happens. I do recognize, however, especially the closer we get, it is not very good. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, no, especially not the level that we have been getting. Like, it is
yeah,
noticeable. Taking the time to watch every episode weekly and dissect it this much, it's become clear that, like, we are on the downward trend for quality, that we're used to getting. And it makes sense. The further and further they get off book, the further,
yeah. The
of just
further and further they
having
have to
that
do their
much
own shit.
material. Yeah, they're just on their own. And I'm not saying that it's the easiest thing in the world to wrap up the storyline. It's probably incredibly difficult to wrap up at, how many storylines they have going on. It's an incredibly difficult task, but some of the decisions are just kind of like, really, that's where you decided to go. That's, I don't know, a little strange, but
Yeah. Regardless, it is what it is. But we'll continue with the breakdown. We've gotten on a few tangents today. It's been fun,
it's
but
it's a very
uh,
talkative season,
it is.
yeah.
It is. So, you know, the closer we get, I fear for how long some of the episodes at the end of the show are going to be.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's the end, It's this
yeah,
this is what
yeah,
we've been waiting for. We're
exactly.
there. But
After the enemy delegation has left, an eager and relieved Jaime meets with his commanders to discuss the logistics of moving the army north. He's like, great, this is what we're doing. It's wonderful. We've got it all figured out. Let's go ahead and head on up there. And Cersei enters the map room and asks what he's doing. And he's like, all right, everybody, you go ahead and get on. I'm excited about this mission we're going to embark upon. Good job, everybody. I'm so excited. Let's fucking do this thing. Maybe we can win. Maybe we can win. And then she tells Jaime, you really are a fucking idiot, aren't you?
How
and then
dumb are
Jaime's
you?
like,
what? Oh.
Yeah, and of course, he's still being an idiot too,
Yeah.
which is funny. Like, to Cersei's like, what?
Mm.
Huh? No way. Shocked, Jaime listens as Cersei explains that Euron has not abandoned her, but has gone to Essos to ferry the Golden Company back to Westeros. And she intentionally leaked her pregnancy to Tyrion, so he would believe her. And now she intends to allow their enemies to exhaust themselves against the army of the dead.
Wow. Look at that. She intentionally leaked her pregnancy so that he would believe her. I mean, that's...
Now,
it is
she
a
could
breakdown.
be,
This is
Yes.
coming from somebody, but like...
Again, she could be lying about that pregnancy so Tyrion believes her.
Or
she
just
could be telling the truth about that pregnancy
made
so
it
Tyrion
a
believes her.
point. Yeah, like, hey, I am pregnant. Believe me. Okay, yeah, I see. It works, I guess.
Like,
either way,
could, again, could go either way. It could be that, like, she is pregnant and she knows this will help Tyrion believe him. She's just using that to her advantage. She uses truth to tell lies. That's something she's, like, I'm pretty sure they've expressly said that. She is an expert at using truth to tell lies. So that would be a very major example of that.
If she played the game of faces with Arya, you think she actually would do well? Like, you...
See, that's why, like, I will say, the closer we get, again, to the end, the more I would have really, really loved for Cersei to go out in a different way.
To not buy a bunch of rocks, just crushing them. Yeah, by
And
someone.
I like the idea of it.
By
I
a
like
person.
the idea of it. She's buried under everything that, she's worked so hard to get. So now, like, that's just it. I like the idea.
Who's the name at the
and
top
I appreciate
of
the
Arya's
last moment
man?
between. I
love
love the last moment between Arya and the Hound, though. That kind of pays off Arya not killing Cersei. Whenever he's like, do you want to die for vengeance? Do you want to be me? Is that what you want? And her kind of being like, no, I don't want that. And he's like, then fucking go, leave.
Yeah.
Because if you stay here, you will die. Like, that's a great moment, a fantastic payoff for a wonderful duo, a wonderful storyline. But you saying, like, if she played the game of faces, Arya is dramatic as shit.
The way she would have killed Cersei would have been... I don't know what would have happened. I don't know. I don't even think she would have put on a face. I think... I don't know. Maybe she would. I don't know. But, like imagine she comes up in Tywin's face. She comes up as Tywin. Just to freak the fuck out of her. Or, I don't know. She just goes in the crypt. She just digs up Tywin, just cuts off... Well, I guess it's probably... I don't know. Not...
Probably nice and decayed.
Maybe you got to get it when it is fresh. I don't know how.
Also,
how that
probably
works.
Ash.
Oh. You're right. It did blow up. Right. Yeah, it would have been buried in the sept. Okay. Yeah, true. They are gone now. So, yeah, no choice of doing that.
No, but yeah, like, regardless, like,
Man.
you saying, like, I can only imagine, like, Macy Williams approaching Lena Headey and being like, I'd like to play a game, and the game is like, and maybe it could have been a last chance for Lena Headey to have her Aidan Gillen in this episode moment.
Like,
where all the facade, all the stuff drops, everything, all's on the table. But, like, that's the other thing, is that I don't think that would be in character for Cersei. I think she'd face her death with pride in that situation. Now, when it comes to the way she does die, being alone and vulnerable with Jaime makes sense. But I think she would kind of be fuck you in the face of Arya, So it's just interesting. It's again, just a what if that could be really interesting to think about. But yeah, Jaime listens as Cersei explains all this, and they'll face against the army of the dead, then have the Golden Company clean up what's left of whoever wins in the north. And Jaime is furious that his sister and Euron plotted behind his back, but Cersei angrily accuses him of plotting with Tyrion in favor of her enemies. And reeling from the accusation, Jaime incredulously reminds her that someone is going to win the battle in the north, regardless, and come south afterwards. If the dead win, they will add the defeated Stark and Targaryen forces to their numbers and kill all in their path without mercy. If the living win, the realm will know Cersei left them all to die and will march south to settle the score. Cersei, however, is indifferent. Finally, seeing his sister for the power-mad narcissist she truly is, Olenna Tyrell's warning rings in his ears. She will be the death of him. And Jaime disgustingly declares that he at least will fight to honor the pledge he made. And when he tries to leave, he finds his way blocked by the mountain. And Cersei furiously insists that she will kill him as a traitor if he tries to leave. And this was a moment where I'm like, given where Jaime's story does go, I wish she would have killed his ass right here.
Really? Oh,
Yes.
I guess, yeah, because it does
knowing what happens.
Mm-hmm.
It would have allowed Cersei to die alone.
That's why both of their deaths suck. It's like they both suck. They both are just done in the way.
Jaime sucks because of what happens before. It's like he seemed to be like done, redeemed, we're done. I'm out, so that sucks. But then like this moment is undone by him returning to King's Landing and negating the love he feels for Brienne. And and so given where Jaime's story does go, the story we know to happen, I would have loved to steep Cersei even deeper in this psycho madness she's got going on.
Yeah.
By letting the mountain kill Jaime.
Yeah, to show Daenerys being kind of the psycho, but with, advisors and with people to tame her intentions. She's not a psycho like Cersei is, I don't think, if she wasn't. Well, I mean, we do see what she is when she is alone. So maybe. But and then showing Cersei, on the opposite side of the coin, someone who is completely unchecked and has all the power. And I don't know, it would have, they have so many really cool dyads. It's like Cersei and Daenerys are like a dyad right now.
Yeah, duo there.
And it is really, really cool. Maybe they're both pregnant. We don't know. We're throwing that up in the air. One is evil. One is unchecked. One is, all these cool things. But yeah, the end is the end. It is what we have.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that also I say that I would have liked for her to kill Jaime here, but then I'd be talking about how it's kind of inconsistent with the fact that she didn't kill Tyrion earlier in the episode, and it'd be like,
imagine we get both of them in one. Oh man, just all right, yeah, sure, I'll kill. Swipe, and then I guess at that moment, maybe if she does kill Tyrion, she's way more likely to kill Jaime in this moment. But
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Tyrion's got great moments in season 8. He's got a great conversation with Sansa down in the crypt of Winterfell, and he leads the council at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that, I think we could probably do away with Tyrion in this episode too. I love that he makes it out.
Man.
I do. I appreciate that he makes it to the end of the show. I appreciate that he becomes, he is one of the leading councilmen of Westeros. I'd much prefer that to him dying here. I'm more talking about what would be quality versus what I enjoy.
Died here, it would throw a huge wrench into shit. Do you start the war? Do you stay there and take over King's Landing, or do you go back north and actually fight the fight? Do you stick with Jon and what? That would be crazy if Tyrion died here. Actually, ooh, man.
If Tyrion died here, what happens in season 8, episode 5? Doesn't happen. And here's why. Daenerys would literally just burn the Red Keep to the ground. That would be all that happened.
Now she does
eventually burn she eventually does burn the Red Keep down. along with
plus a little bit more,
50 to
in
100 square blocks King's Landing.
mm-hmm. Just a little bit more, maybe she
Just
went
a little
overkill
bit.
a little bit.
No, and I know I'm playing a lot of the like, oh, if this was a completely different show, if something completely different happened, like it's just fun to. I'm not saying I know better or that anything would necessarily be better.
Yeah, and
Um,
we have the
I'm
hindsight
just saying
as
like
well, but
ideas that could have been fun,
mhm.
because again,
I guarantee
I
they thought
prefer
this was
Tyrion.
good. They did.
Yeah,
They're
no,
not like they know
and
it's
this is
shit and they're
and
gonna ship
for
it.
the time, this is good. A lot of what I'm saying is given what happens in season 8.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like at this very moment, the show has not lost its step yet for my money. Not completely. It's
Still looks
slowing a bit,
good. The
but it hasn't.
performances are
Yes,
all still
yes,
there. Like, yeah, nothing is.
absolutely.
It is
And that
never.
never really those things never really go away. They always perform. They always look good. It's just the writing is slowly treading down the downward path. And I think that when I'm thinking of like, oh, this would have been interesting to do, it is because of what ends up happening. If season 7 concludes and we lost both Tyrion and Jaime, because I will say one of the other critiques I understand for season 8 is that
Oh,
not enough happens death wise. Like it's a relatively happy ending. I know it's not ideal. There's a lot of sad stuff. Daenerys dying is
yeah. I
obviously the
guess
gut check that you do not want.
Daenerys,
But
Cersei, Jaime, the Night King, Jorah.
dies. Yeah.
Melisandre.
The Hound,
Mm-hmm.
which is a lot. Don't get me wrong. Those are
Okay,
all
yeah,
noticeable
but
standout deaths. Now, Cersei, inevitable. Nobody thought Cersei was going to live. Nobody thought that was going to live.
mm-hmm.
Jorah, the Hound, expendable. They're important, sure. They are key characters who are probably going to die. Like the deaths that do happen are kind of like, well, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
I guess Daenerys
Um,
is a little. Daenerys would be the
Daenerys is
one
the
where it's
one
like,
wrench, I would
yeah.
say.
Mm-hmm.
And Jaime is also a wrench, and it's because they decide to completely flip his arc and kind of go, never mind, fuck it.
Yeah.
Because where he's at, even at the end of season 6, I'd say his death was inevitable. At the end of this season, I would not say that. Like it's just kind of like the
Mm-hmm.
way the tides change. Um, so Daenerys is the one example of someone who I say like that is the shocking death. That is the death you did not
Mm-hmm.
see coming at the end of the show. You knew it was possible. You didn't think it was going to happen.
Yeah. I mean,
Now, if the only major players left on the board at the end of the show are the Starks, are Jon, Arya, Sansa, and Bran, you do still get a relatively happy ending.
that would be kind of cool too. It's just the Starks have it all. Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
the the people who just run Winterfell at the beginning and got put down and were just getting crushed ended up being at the top at the end. Would have been pretty
And
cool.
they mostly did anyway.
Mm-hmm.
They mostly did anyway. That doesn't change much.
Bran is
Brandon,
king.
the
Yeah.
Sansa succeeds. Jon goes north. Arya goes west. Like all that can still happen.
Hmm.
Instead of it's just given what happens in season 8, I think that losing Tyrion and Jaime at the end of this season would not have been as terrible
Hmm.
as it might have felt at the time.
Yeah.
You know?
I like my boy Tyrion, but I think you're onto something here. It would
Yeah, and don't get me wrong.
really
Again,
maybe for
I
6
much
episodes though.
prefer Tyrion living.
Yeah, with 6 episodes left though, maybe not. I think if he does die, there's got to be a lot. The Night King would have to die in the finale. Like there would have to be more that happens right then and there if Tyrion dies at this moment. Or it is just a hard decision to have to still go north, sort of thing.
Mhm.
To just be like, all right, yeah, we lost him. But we have to keep going.
Yeah, no. What they do in the wake of Tyrion's death here is a different story. I think that Cersei raises King's Landing, or not King's Landing to the ground, but the Red Keep to the ground. I think she'd destroy the Red Keep. But I don't think she'd destroy the city. I don't think she'd go full Mad Queen. Not in this moment.
Yeah, because she still has people.
Yeah,
still
exactly.
people are still in her
There's a
corner.
chance. There's a chance that if Tyrion dies here, Jon and Daenerys end up being king and queen of Westeros.
They could have really taken it right here.
Yeah.
Like, they really could have. And I guess that's the whole point of Daenerys, is like she could take it if she wanted to by force at any time, but it's her willing not to. And but
yeah, no, so
big what
who
if
knows
there.
what
That's
happens with
a
the
big
armies
what if,
and
yeah.
how the battle plays out after they burn King's Landing to the ground. Does the Lannister army even really desire to fight for Cersei anymore? Is that something they just feel like they have to do? So do they drop their arms as soon as Daenerys does? All that
Probably.
stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't love getting lost in the well, what if they did something completely different,
Lost in the what if sauce.
Yeah, no, and that's why I'm saying ultimately what I'm saying is not what they should have done. What I'm saying is not necessarily a critique. I'm just saying that given what happens in season 8, there are steps that could have been taken with a little more foresight. It does feel like they kind of went, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's
regardless.
Still, a lot of hate talk, but still very good television at the
No,
end
yeah,
of the day,
don't get me wrong. I love the show. And I even love this. I loved this episode. It was a good episode and I enjoyed the shit out of it. And I like the last season. I like this season. It's just there's an unquestionable drop off in terms of, again, foresight and quality. Like, it's just like they did not know where they were going and it shows. But yeah, Jaime calls Cersei's bluff at him dying at the Mountain's hand, and Cersei does not give the order. And alone, Jaime rides out of King's Landing, having discarded his Lannister armor in favor of rougher and less recognizable traveling garb. And realizing how conspicuous he is, he nervously pulls a glove over his golden hand. As he does, a single snowflake lands on his glove. Jaime looks up and sees snow begin to fall from the gray sky, carried by a chill wind. As Jaime rides away, the snow begins to cover King's Landing, the streets, the houses, the ruins where the Great Sept once stood, the little skulls in the Dragon Pit, and even Cersei's map in the Red Keep. Winter has arrived.
Cool. Just snow. That's it. And that is all it is. But winter just has this such a grand meaning in this show that even just seeing snow is like, winter is here. It's like, I don't know. It's like you're just saying that in the back of your mind. But
all right. Well, first location down. We got 4 to go. So we're at Winterfell next. We're only an hour and a half deep. So, hour and 40 minutes deep. So we got this. At Winterfell, Sansa Stark discusses the potential threat of her sister Arya with Peter Baelish, and Baelish tries to manipulate her as usual, encouraging her to think as he does. He tells Arya to ask herself what Arya's worst possible motivation is, and seemingly overcome with horror that the thought that Arya would want to take her place and reign as Lady of Winterfell, seems that Sansa has decided to do something about it, to Baelish's delight. And after a long time reflecting on her course of action on the battlement, Sansa orders Arya to be brought to the Great Hall. And in the hall, Sansa and Bran are seated at the great table, the hall lined with Stark and Arryn men and a few key lords such as Jon Royce and, of course, Littlefinger, who is watching the whole thing with a malicious little smile. And Arya is brought in and asks Sansa if she really wants to do this. Last chance. You really want to do this? It's okay. I'm down. I'm down. But if you're down,
I have the means. I'm really down to do this.
Yeah, I'm ready. I've been wanting to do this a while. Sansa replies, it's not about what she wants. It's about justice. Sansa, I will also note, as much as I said that I do not love this storyline throughout the season, the things I do love about this ending are because of Sansa's handling of it.
Oh, No, it was good.
So Sansa is my character
I like
of
that.
the episode.
No, I like that because even that little when she was talking to Littlefinger before, being like, you know, what would she like to do? You know, what is her worst motivation?
What is her worst possible motivation?
She's like, oh, she would want to kill me. That means she would take over Winterfell. It's like I've never thought of this. It hasn't even crossed my mind yet, Littlefinger. You're so smart. Thank you. And it's like
Thank you,
this,
sir. You've helped me so much.
like if this was done before in the storyline, making it kind of like that obvious, like, and still this isn't even that obvious of them like playing against him, but like this is way more in that vein. That would have been really cool to see, like,
yes,
more of this
absolutely.
before.
The way they handle this is the opposite of what I've been saying.
Mhm.
Not given what is to come, but given what has happened,
Yeah.
this is immensely better than the way they built up this story. So
Mhm.
like I do appreciate the conclusion overall. But
Mhm.
yeah, Arya, you know, she proceeds Sansa proceeds to rattle off a list of crimes perpetrated against House Stark. You know, you are accused of murder, treason, conspiracy. Continues. A long laundry list of crimes. She says, "How do you respond to these charges, Lord Baelish?" and looks across the room at Peter. I love the melodrama of it.
Ooh, yeah,
I
like
love the melodrama of it. Like the whole just like I felt like you could hear like a soap opera like doo-doo-doo,
yeah.
like piano cue like when
Uh-huh.
she looks over at Lord Baelish and he kind of looks up and he's like, "My lady, I'm sorry.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't believe I understand." Um and Throne Littlefinger tries to figure out what is going on, and Sansa reveals his murder of Lysa Arryn and his use of Lysa Arryn to murder Jon Arryn, which perpetuated the cycle of events which got Ned Stark, my father, down to King's Landing. Uh, she uses his own words against him and accuses him quite correctly of orchestrating the conflict between the Starks and the Lannisters that has ultimately engulfed the Seven Kingdoms for the better part of the last decade, including the betrayal and the death of her father, Ned Stark. And Baelish tries to deny. You know, this is untrue. None of that is true. But Bran has something else to say.
Is there. And he literally knows everything. And if he wants, well, maybe not yet, but if he wants to know anything, he can.
He can.
And I love he's just the encyclopedia. Like he is. There's drama and whatever, and there can be drama of like, oh, let's figure out and try to investigate. But Bran can just be like, oh, I can just tell you, like I could tell you,
Yeah.
everything.
It's like you held a knife to his throat. He's like, no, I did not. You said I did tell you not to trust me. Those were your words, correct?
Like,
And Littlefinger can't really say much to that. He's kind of like just.
he's like,
I like how Bran has this like scariness to him that everyone's like, oh, I can't hide.
Yeah, yeah, like
You know, like
even Sansa and Arya, like whenever they realize, they're like, oh, like okay, like it's like a
see,
like it's very uncomfortable.
well, there's an invasiveness about it, regardless of how useful it is or how Bran might use it for good.
Mm-hmm.
To know that nothing you have ever done is safe from being seen by Bran.
Yeah.
Is scary.
Yeah.
You know, like
it's like, you know, and people talk about like, oh, your phones listen to you, or like people are looking through your webcams. Like Bran's a whole, like he sees everything. He's
all of that.
Literally, like you can unplug and put a cover over your webcam. You can do things to like feel a little bit more comfortable, but like you can't hide at all from Bran. Yeah, it is. That'd be a like a horror. Like if he was like the lead of like some horror, like that'd be kind of, that would be scary.
It'd be horrifying, man.
Yeah.
And like and there's a combination of things here, you know, the realization that he's lost control, but also just that idea that he is not safe. Littlefinger loses it, you know. Baelish demands that Lord Royce take him, the Lord Protector of the Vale, to safety, and you know, Jon Royce refuses him with the words, "I think not."
Yeah.
And In desperation, Baelish falls to his knees, pleads for his life. Please, I've loved you just as I loved your mother. Uh, and Sansa, unswayed by his pleading, sentences him to death and promises she will never forget all the lessons he taught her. Sharing a look with Arya as Baelish tries to speak, Arya walks up and opens his throat with the same Valyrian steel dagger that was used at the heart of his plot. And Littlefinger bleeds out and slumps dead to the floor, the Northern and Vale men and women watching dispassionately. At long last, the War of the Five Kings is officially over. You know, like as far as who the Five Kings were and who spurred that conflict and what transpired there.
Oh wow.
None of them are left. No remnants of that conflict
guess
remain.
Good old John or Robin Aaron?
Yeah. Robin Aaron. Yeah.
Damn, he's the only one. The only fucker that's still alive.
Made it out.
At the beginning.
Yep. No. But as far as the people at the center of that conflict,
yes.
Robert and Ned and Littlefinger and Robb and Joffrey and Balon and nobody left. Nope. Stannis, Renly.
Shit. Yeah.
Everybody gone.
Gone. Yeah. Okay. It is over. It does.
Now there's still a remnant conflict from that conflict. But
yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
It never stops.
Never.
Peace
never does.
I don't think. Yeah. Might be an illusion in a world like this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But on the battlements, Sansa and Arya discuss Littlefinger's plots and how much they, as people, have changed. And Arya tells Sansa that she wouldn't have been able to survive what Sansa did, which I appreciated this little conceding. And Sansa disagrees, which I appreciated even more. Saying Arya is the strongest person she knows, and the sisters muse on one another of their fathers' sayings about how lone wolves die in the winter, but the pack survives. And they realize the truth of his words is their remaining family needs to stick together.
Oh.
Just one of those.
Imagine we could have been getting that the whole season, like both sides, them playing Littlefinger and this, being like, we're getting them so good, aren't we? Like, look at this fucking idiot. Remember Dad and all of our good memories? Remember when we lived here and we were young and we hated each other, but now we don't? Like, I don't know. The one storyline that's just obviously bad this season, and it's just, I'm glad it's over. I'm glad Littlefinger is dead. It is a good twist, like to get to, but I just hate getting there.
Yeah, the whole process is just it's painstaking. It's not a good time. It's not even that well done, because it's just subverting expectations for the sake of subverting expectations.
But this moment was nice between them.
It was wonderful, and that's why Sansa ultimately pulls down my favorite character of the episode.
I like that.
But sometime later, Samwell Tarly and Gilly arrive at Winterfell. And this was an interesting little beat in the story because there's a lot of stuff Samwell hasn't learned on screen.
That he says here?
No, just in general. Like the idea that Samwell would go directly to Winterfell implies that he knows Jon is the king of the North, and implies that he knows, and I'm sure he does. He's been at the Citadel, like he probably knows all this. But
I see.
They've never shown us Sam learning this stuff. He just arrived at the Citadel, and he's been basically in a void of information ever since. He never even knew Jon died. He didn't know Jon left. He didn't know Jon left Castle Black. He didn't know Jon fought the Battle of the Bastards. He didn't know Jon took the seat of king in the North. He didn't know Jon went south. Like, as far as we knew up to this point, he didn't know any of it. But then this is like him being like, oh yeah, I kind of learned. He at least learned that Jon became king in the North.
Okay, I see. Yeah, now. But yeah, him heading straight to Winterfell makes the most sense. Like, I guess where else?
It certainly does.
Where else
that is where he would go. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that is true. It is a lot of stuff that just probably would have happened on screen if they had more time.
Yeah.
And more episodes.
No, for sure. But Regardless, like it is what it is. Not really a critique or anything. Just an interesting thing I've noticed is that Sam hasn't been learning anything about anything, and at least on screen. But Sam calls on Bran, learning that he is back, recalling their meeting at the Night Fort some years earlier. And Bran is glad to see Sam, but is surprised to find him here. And when Sam reiterates his loyalty to Jon, Bran, unable to keep it a secret, unable to keep it a secret any longer, reveals the truth of Jon's origins. He was like, he was born to Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark at a tower in Dorne. So, he's not a snow. He's a sand. That's all. That's a simple. That's all. That's it. That's it. That's everything. He was not born in the north. He was born in the south. Therefore, he's Jon Sand, not Jon Snow. And I think it's hysterical. So fucking funny. Absolutely hilarious that this is a secret Bran is completely and utterly incapable of containing to Samwell Tarly.
Yeah, he's like the ultimate. I mean, imagine you have all the gossip, all of it, any gossip you want, you have, and like he can't go anywhere, he can't do anything anymore. Gossip is all he has now. Like
it's true.
Talking. That's all he can do. So this,
I love this reveal.
Yeah, this is.
I love this reveal. It always makes me very happy. I do think the expository-esque nature of the build-up to the reveal is hysterical. Like the fact, like it's literally just so funny to me that Bran is like, he's not a snow. He's a sand. Snow. And that's a huge deal. Mm-hmm. That is a deal I can't get over. I have to reveal that to somebody. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Sam being like, "Oh, actually, when I wasn't listening to Gilly at all, I remember the small detail that she told me. There was an annulment. Like I love how he actually remembers this, even though like." He just
he blew off completely when it was actually said.
15,387 shits. He's going off. But
regardless, I do love the reveal. Sam realizes that the that isn't true either, recalling an entry from High Septon Maynard's private journal about annulling Rhaegar's marriage. Bran expressed his doubts, but Sam reiterates the private nature of the journal and encourages Bran to use. He's like, whatever you say you can do, how about you do it?
Can you verify? Oh yeah. Damn, you're right. Shit. All right. It's like literally that's how he does. Like it's just how he functions.
Shit. Yeah, that's. Oh damn. Yeah. No, that's happening right now.
So it's like, and it goes to show like his limitations, though. I think it's like so he doesn't actually know everything already.
He has to seek out the information. Yeah. It's not like it all just comes to him.
Yeah.
But accessing that information is incredibly easy. It's just a matter of
let me actually check that. And then it's like, I was actually just there. I literally saw it happen. You're right.
Easily finds the wedding where he clearly sees a happy Lyanna wedding Rhaegar in a Faith of the Seven ceremony before a heart tree. Heart tree.
Really?
I think it's also a werewood though. I think it has multiple names.
Heart tree.
Yeah, let me click on heart tree real quick. Yeah, heart tree is the center of the godswood. It is a werewood tree.
Okay.
Same thing.
That's okay. So just multiple names.
I think a heart tree, a werewood tree becomes a heart tree when a face has been carved into it. I think that is what that was implying.
So the weirwood is just it is the species of that's what it
tree.
Says, of tree.
But a heart tree is because a godswood is typically made up of a bunch of werewood trees.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a heart tree with the face on it. So 7 seasons deep and we're still learning things. So
wow, still taking
warging
us to school,
forward.
Bran.
Warging forward to the Tower of Joy. Bran finally hears Lyanna's dying words, which for some reason he couldn't previously hear.
That wasn't important before. He was right there. He did see that happen.
Kind of like,
but He's like, I'll leave that a mystery. You know,
He's like, I'll come back for that.
my
But
aunt's dying words, not that important, probably.
I don't care. I don't care. But now, piecing the truth together, Bran declares that Rhaegar never raped Lyanna. She loved him and ran off with him and bore him a son. Jon Snow is Aegon Targaryen. And there's a really, really good little acting choice by Isaac Hempstead right here that shows just the tiniest flash of emotion.
Mm.
His voice slightly breaks during this monologue, as he realizes that Robert's rebellion was built on a lie. His cousin was raised raised illegitimately, but he is truly the heir to the Iron Throne.
Yeah.
Huge reveal. Huge reveal.
I mean, Bran was taken back by him being a sand. And he's like, this is the biggest thing ever. I have to tell someone. And then got a way bigger ball dropped on top of that. It was like, Sam was like, well, Bran, let me do you one better. And let me change the scope of your entire worldview. And yeah.
But yeah, to parallel that, on the Narrow Seas, sometime after setting sail, Jon knocks on the door of Daenerys' cabin, and she answers and meets his gaze without words. After a moment, he enters, and with her eyes still locked, shuts the door. Unaware of the truth of Jon's heritage, the fact that they are biologically aunt and nephew, they finally give in to the burgeoning passion between them and consummate their relationship. Jon's just got that fucking donk going. Unknown to both of them.
Yeah.
Tyrion.
Yeah.
Just
man,
an
you know,
ass on Kid
it's
Harington.
like it's something you've wanted to happen for the whole show, but then you learn
parallel it with the reveal.
Yeah, and then you're like,
that they are related.
You're like, man, now it just doesn't work. It
sucks the air out of it a bit. But it only fuels those theories, you know. It only fuels those ideas. That's like, well, they are Targaryens, so naturally they're gonna get it going. They're gonna keep it popping, you know. Yeah, but regardless, unknown to both of them, Tyrion had also been on his way to speak with the Queen, and had seen Jon enter the cabin, silently concerned at the possible implications of what may occur. And Tyrion silently walks away.
I always thought this was really weird. Like Tyrion just
I don't get it.
Yeah, like
I don't get it.
Like I was just kind of, I don't know.
They don't do enough to make it clear Tyrion's in love with Daenerys if that's what he's concerned about. I don't think he is.
I don't think that's it.
I don't think he is either. So where's his concern?
Like,
what is he worried about?
This is like he already pledges allegiance, and like this is just, it just makes sense. This marriage like just makes sense politically. Like, anyways, like this is actually just a win. I think like a win-win.
That's why his expression doesn't make any fucking sense.
And he was literally talking to her before last episode. We have to start talking about your line of succession. Who's going to be, you know, how are you going to make an heir? This is how you make an heir. You have to make, you know, it's like everything is falling perfectly into their hands. And he's like,
they've even had a conversation previously about how, you know, they are not the only men who have loved you, and they will not be the last men to love you. Talking about Daario and Jorah, and like, so like,
is he in
I don't get it.
Then? Yeah, I guess
that's
maybe.
my thing. Is that like, if he is, they're not doing enough to be like, oh yeah, he loves her. And I think he does love her. It's not like it's like a I don't think it's a romantic longing that like he holds in part for Daenerys.
It's not even like a Jorah type thing. It's more of just, how can you not love Daenerys? You know, like,
exactly. So this little cut has always confused the shit out of me.
It's like a cuck thing. Like that's what it feels like, you know, the most. Like that's the thing I'm getting the most out, and I'm like, it just feels so weird and strange. I'm like,
I don't love it, and like this has no. There is nothing after this or before this that impacts this scene for me not liking that little bit of it. That is just like, it doesn't make sense to me.
This is why
I don't get it.
Tyrion being a secret Targaryen somehow, maybe, you know, these are all Targaryens, and he's Tyrion would be, I don't know what that would make him, Jon's brother or uncle or Daenerys's brother, but then it would be an aunt and a nephew fucking and then the brother or uncle watching as well. So maybe that's the idea, is that he's a secret Targaryen and it's this weird ass
Yeah,
Targaryen.
man. I just
Yeah, but
I guess I don't know what expression to. The thing is, I don't think you should cut to him at all.
yeah, I just think it should just be the sex scene and that's it. And like close the door, show the two actors having sex, and then there you go.
Yeah. I don't entirely get it, because I was trying to think of like what expression would be on his face if he saw this happen. It wouldn't be excitement. It wouldn't be like, yay. It
It
also
should have just
wouldn't be
been like
deep
a
concern.
maybe like a hmm, like a nod, like
Yeah, like
okay,
thoughtful.
like
Yeah.
a this could work, or like a, or I don't know, like not bad, like he sees him walk in and then he just instantly walks away and he's like, okay, that is kind of the only emotion that makes sense to me, but yeah, very
Yeah, the
strange.
concern is bizarre, because even if you think of the implications for the kingdom, this relationship can only do good in theory.
Who is a better who 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 can be better for her right now? Um,
I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know.
Euron, but like I'm not like I'm talking like not as a guy, but like just as pure allegiance, like alliance marriage.
Ye
I guess
Euron would
Euron
be
right
a
now
candidate in
would,
terms of what he can provide,
yeah. And
which would be
maybe that's
like,
Tyrion's. His hesitation is,
doesn't make sense.
but
It doesn't make any sense.
no.
Um, Regardless, we're gonna backtrack a little bit. I wanted to give that little bit of information out
Mm-hmm.
in parallel with the reveal. But On Dragonstone in the chamber of the painted table, Daenerys and her court discuss logistics. It will take the Dothraki a fortnight to reach Winterfell, and the plan is to have Jon and the Unsullied cross the sea by ship and meet them at White Harbor. Jorah Mormont points out that the North is not really safer for her than anywhere else, as someone with a memory of Robert's rebellion and an idea of becoming a hero could easily take her out with a single crossbow. And he suggests she fly to Winterfell to avoid any potential unpleasantness. And Jon counters that Daenerys has to ride in with them so that the North can see her as a liberator and an ally. And after a moment's consideration, Daenerys decides to sail to Winterfell with Jon. And Jorah, suspecting a different reason for her decision, throws her a look which she notices but avoids. And after the meeting, Theon talks privately with Jon. He tells Jon that even when they were growing up at Winterfell, Jon always seemed to know the right thing to do. And Jon explains, no, that's just not the case. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've done things I regret. And Theon replies, not compared to me, you haven't. And confides that he has always felt torn between the Greyjoy heritage and his Stark upbringing. And he tried to do the right thing, but was uncertain about the right step to take at every turn. And Jon, while angry about Theon's betrayal against his family, tells him that their father, Ned Stark, was more a father to Theon than Balon ever was. However, Jon relents and tells Theon that he never lost Ned. Ned is a part of both of them. And Theon is both a Greyjoy and a Stark. He says he can forgive Theon for what is in his power to forgive. And Theon confides that when he was Ramsay's prisoner, his sister Yara tried to save him, and he asks his leave
Mm-hmm. Mm.
to go get her.
Okay, I didn't quite notice that. Um, that's awesome. Not serving Daenerys,
Interesting little
serving
note.
Jon
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But no, I this is the start of my performance nod for Alfie Allen.
Ooh, yeah,
He
good choice.
I think Lena Headey, I mean she's just par for the course for her. And she, I'm very glad she's gotten it from you, but I mean Alfie Allen here, like just this was another scene potential here. The conversation between Jon and Theon, just to another really good just conversation between two people, two actors bouncing off each other. But um, I really love Alfie Allen, like this part of him just having this conversation here, and then what he goes on to do, the like physical
Oh yeah.
acting and crazy
Oh, it's
like shit he
incredible.
has
And
to do here.
I love Alfie Allen as an actor. He goes under the radar every single week
Mm-hmm.
that we cover the show, because like I've said this before, but if there was a number for the amount of time someone has been second
Yeah,
as far as like who's
he's like
like, oh,
that.
I didn't want to go, I wanted to go here, but like if I didn't, it would have been Alfie Allen. He's washing everybody in the number of second
Yeah,
place
I mean
nominations.
he's tied. Like he has 4 now. After this one, and it ties
Mm.
him with Nicolaj Coaster Waldau, so our boy Jamie, and Liam Cunningham Davos. So he's in good company.
Strong company, strong company.
Yeah. Below Sean Bean and Macy Williams at 5. So I mean, it's like it's not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he's super
There's just a
low.
lot of love to go around, you know.
Yeah, Lena Headey at
But
19 at the top. So yeah, that's where she sits.
she's gonna snag.
Um,
She's gonna be the only person who snags a 20 piece, which is
yeah,
insane.
Amelia Clark's at 16, so she would have to get 4 more.
4, and she will get one. Guaranteed, she will get one.
Maybe a double. Yeah, that might be
maybe a double
okay.
up. You know,
but yeah, Lena Headey will get 20. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's
Amelia
but,
might get there.
Yeah, Theon returns to the remaining Ironborn who continue to regard him with disgust. Theon tells his men that Euron has a sister and that they must go back for her, and Harag shuts Theon down, declaring him a coward, and proclaims that they are going to go where they can rape and pillage as they usually do. And Theon reminds them that Yara has forbidden their old ways, but Harag threatens Theon and begins to assault him, telling him to stay down. Although he is knocked down, Theon barely reacts to the blows as he has experienced far greater pain in his life.
Mm-hmm.
He gets up to attack, but Hera continues to beat Theon again, insisting that he stay down or he will kill him. And Theon once more defies him and attacks Harag, who grabs Theon and kicks him several times in the crotch. However, we learn it wasn't just it's root and stem going on down there. You know,
Yeah.
we had the conception that maybe it was just
okay.
you know,
This does confirm it. Okay, there
Yes,
we go.
yes.
It is all gone. Yeah, I love how this is the turning point in the fight though. That
Yeah.
it is just like a what?
Yeah, and he's like,
that's
he does it again. He's
Yeah,
like, this should work.
Yeah, he's like,
It's funny. But Theon smiles as he gets the upper hand, smashing the captain's face practically to a pulp and beating him into submission. The other
bleeding all
Ironborn
over
finally
his
relents.
face too. Like Theon's
Yeah.
blood just dripping all over him as he's like screaming at him.
Real
I'm like,
Fight Club
"Ooh,
shit.
ooh, yeah,
You know, like
ooh,
yeah, that shit.
okay,
It's terrible.
yeah."
But accepting Theon and his mission, they prepare to set sail. Theon wades into the sea to wash his wounds in salt water, embracing his identity.
Hell yeah,
Good turning
Theon.
point for Theon, man.
Hell yeah.
You know, like there was a point whenever like it's kind of the opposite between. Actually, no, not quite the opposite between him and Cersei. Like first time I watched this show, I want Cersei to fucking die. I want her gone. I'm done. Theon, I want him to die. I want him gone. No forgiving this motherfucker. Now I'm like, you know what? He's done more than enough to repent. You know, he's good. We're set.
Yeah, I'm chill. I'm chill with Theon. He's cool. And Alfie Allen, just man,
he's so good.
Yeah, an underrated, I think, actor on when it comes to the grand scope of the show. But
we'll conclude the episode at the wall. Tormund and Beric Dondarrion review the defenses atop the wall at Eastwatch by the Sea, and Tormund remarks that the crows said he'll get used to the height, but he admits it'll probably be a while. And suddenly the pair sees the movement at the edge of the haunted forest. A White Walker emerges atop an undead horse, followed shortly by a horde of whites. More and more White Walkers emerge as the Night's Watch horn sounds 3 times. However, the army of the dead stops some distance from the foot of the wall. And Tormund looks relieved, despite their numbers. The dead don't have anything they could possibly do to get past the barrier. They can't do this. We're good.
Yeah, we got
We're
this.
safe.
We're chilling.
And then the wall in horror hears a heavy, familiar sound. The screeching roar mixed with the heavy thumping of huge wings. And suddenly the undead Viserion swoops down with the Night King riding on his back in a burst of bright blue flame. Viserion demolishes some of the scouting platforms atop the wall and then turns his flames against the wall itself. Realizing they have no chance against this, Tormund shouts for all of them to turn and fucking run. And Tormund and Beric watch in horror as the entire eastern extremity of the wall collapses under Viserion's breath and crashes into a sea. leaving a gap between the wall and the sea large enough for the army to cross. A road now open to them, the White Walkers direct the Whites to begin their march into the north. And Whites and Giants and other monstrosities march in the thousands south. Great war has begun.
Yeah. Luckily,
The
Tormund.
fucking score in this moment is ridiculous. And then the score dropping out, and then you just hear the fucking screech of a White Walker like onward, basically, and then it fucking kicks in again. Dude, electric shit. I remember watching this and coming to school the next day. Monday, August, let's see. Would have gone to school Monday, August 28th, as this premiered August 27th. Okay. And everyone just kind of being like, I don't fucking, yeah, bro.
They just he just did that, you know. Like, I think we were all kind of in denial of him having a dragon, you know, and it's like, oh, they won't use it until much later, you know, and that won't be a problem. It's a
last-ditch effort.
It's a very much problem right now.
No, it's immediate. That's happening.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I can get south now. Thank you very much. Really curious to what he would have done without a dragon.
I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know.
But man, yeah.
But ahead of rating this episode and this season and giving our season's favorites and breaking down our new numbers going into the final season, I did want to try something new. I'm going to do our plugs now. I had a good idea that, once you finish the episode and people understand your cadence and they know where you're going, they go ahead and dip. Yeah. I do. I know that's what I do when I listen to stuff. So ahead of an important part of the episode, I might add, there will be more after this next 30 seconds. If you didn't know, we're on YouTube now. If you only listen to the show and you dip out before I break down our plugs, you can watch us. You can watch on YouTube. You can subscribe look up Penny Bloom Podcast. We're there. You can watch us instead of just listen if that's your thing. That was the main reason I wanted to get this in. I wanted to let you know that is possible. You can follow on TikTok at Penny Bloom Podcast. You can follow on Twitter at Penny Bloom Pod. Follow on Instagram at Penny Bloom Podcast. If there's anything you want to say to us, hit us up on any of those platforms. Let us know what you think. Ask us questions. Ask us stuff. I would love to hear from you. But that's greatly appreciated. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where for $3 a month, you can support the podcast financially, which is huge because it costs me money and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. So huge help. But with that, we can get into the rating and that section of the pod. So how are you feeling about this episode on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, all the bad stuff that we did hate with the Sansa and Arya stuff is kind of good now. And seeing all of these characters together in one place is kind of crazy in its own right. A lot of crazy things are happening, and then really good one-on-one scenes, I think. I mean, this one was pretty enjoyable. I don't know if it's quite like a 9.75. I mean, it's upwards of 9, I think. I think I'm like 9.25. A 9.5-ish. The end definitely gets me going, and I'm like all in. I want to start season 8 so bad. Right after finishing this, but I had the restraint. I didn't. But I think I'm pretty high enjoyment wise for this episode.
Yeah, I'm doing decent. A lot of the concerns I did have are related more to what comes next, less so than what this is. And so therein, I think a 9.25 is about where I come down. I think I'm above a 9, so I'm cool with a 2.5 if you're cool with that.
Yeah, last episode was a 9. We gave a 9 for the penultimate, and I think
I would say I definitely like this more than that one. For sure.
So okay. Critically, I think that it is a little bit better. We gave a 6 critically last episode. I think we are upwards of that here. I think they did end the season pretty well.
I had a decent gap, there were still things that were expository and goofy and melodramatic, and some of those things I appreciated. Ultimately, I think this is a good episode of television, and I think the floor for that is an 8.
Yep. We gave that to Eastwatch, episode 5. We gave an 8 critically. Um, so that's before they set off. Yeah, I, it's kind of around there, I'd say, as well. Maybe it just kind of ties it.
Yeah, I'd
I'd
even be
say a
willing to
little
bump
bit
it.
better.
There's
Yeah, a
some
little
great
bit.
character interactions.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah,
some stuff we haven't seen in a long time.
yeah.
Some great. I'll give D&D some
Costumes,
credit here.
shit. Yeah, I guess
Yes,
the
costume was
visuals and
incredible.
costumes. Yeah, maybe give it a bump.
And I will give D&D some credit here. That conversation between Cersei and Tyrion is extremely strong. Anything with Cersei in this episode was actually
Yeah,
very strong in terms of dialogue and
maybe even
all
8.5.
it was
Um, I don't know. I think yeah,
up to you.
maybe
Yeah.
it does.
You
I
want
think it does.
to
Yeah,
take it there? I'm cool with that. I'd also be cool settling for an 8.25. So
maybe
either
maybe
way,
we
I'm
meet in the
cool.
middle there. Maybe that does sound a little better. An 8.25. 8.25. It's an 8.58 overall. And 8.5. It's an 8.75 overall. 8.75 seems a little high. Maybe I don't know.
I'm trying to compare it to
86.
previous.
I mean, it's an 86 or an 88. Percent.
Yeah, no matter what, this would make it
But
the weakest finale of the show.
and I think that
Uh,
is definitely true.
I do stand by that.
Yeah, yeah. I think it probably will be the weakest finale of. I think season 8 will probably beat it out still. The finale.
It'll be interesting to see
Yeah, I don't
upon
know.
rewatch.
I don't know.
In my head, I think enjoyment wise, I'll be able to tell you I liked that more. The critical evaluation is the part that I'm excited to revisit.
Ooh,
I
yeah,
don't
and
know
that is
how
the
I'll
more
feel about how
important
good it
part.
is.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
the more
exactly.
weighed
We
section.
do
So
weight that heavy. So
okay.
it will be interesting. It will be interesting. But yeah, no, again, the fact that this is the weakest season finale of Thrones is fucking insane. Like this is a great episode of television. So like,
Wow. Yeah.
just shows how good the show is, man.
It
But
is.
do we want to do let's talk some season favorites after I rattle off the new numbers
Ooh.
for the totals. Are
Okay.
those all updated? Are we all set there?
Yes, we are. I did update
All
them. Yeah,
right. So we'll start
134.
with the top 5 for character. Still reigning supreme, Jon Snow is sitting atop the list with 15. Daenerys comes in second with 11. Oberyn Martell and Tyrion Lannister are tied for third with 10. The Hound comes in fourth with 9.
I just
And Arya
realized.
at fifth with 8.
Wow, they were tied, but now the Hound went up one on
Overtook it.
Arya now.
Overtook it.
Okay. There we are.
But yeah, so yeah, that's the top 5 right now heading into the final season for character. And then acting wise, no differences here. Lena Headey still reigning supreme at the top with 19. Amelia Clark sitting at second with 16. Kit Harington sitting at third with 15. Peter Dinklage at fourth with 11. And Sophie Turner at fifth with 8. And that list just makes sense, being Cersei, Jon, Daenerys, Tyrion, and Sansa.
There you go. There's the core. Yeah, the core of the
Sounds
show.
right. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. But yeah, what about this season?
I think
Who are your favorites when it came to season
overall,
7?
I think character, it's probably just got to be Jon. This season. I mean, I'm trying to think of people who could be close. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm just liking Jon a whole lot. No, I don't think I can go with anyone else. Yeah. I'm just going with him. I mean, him like the just leading everyone. He's like he's fully like a leader now, and he's not like scoffing it off as being like, oh, I don't want to be a leader anymore. He's like he's doing it now, and he's good at it. Maybe he still doesn't want it, but he's doing his job and still making the decisions he would make. Just because he is the leader now, it didn't change anything. He's still who he is. So yeah, I'd go with Jon for character. Let's see.
It's funny. I'm actually gonna take yours from this episode. I'm gonna go with the Hound for my character of the season.
Ooh, that's
Um,
good. Okay.
I think that the character takes leaps and bounds in terms of characterization. You know, he's much softer, he's much nicer. He
Mm-hmm.
feels like a sweeter guy with a rougher edge, you know, and I think that that's a I mean, like that starts at the end of season 6, but I think it comes to fruition in this season. You know, starting the season in the house that he's visited before, and he took advantage of them, and seeing how far he's
Okay.
come from there, and then this interaction at the end with Brienne and the going north and sacrificing that much north of the wall and everything. Like
Mm,
there's a lot of leaps and bounds for that character this season. So I think as far as a season sum total, I'm gonna go with the Hound.
okay. Yeah, I like that. Um, yeah, performance. I don't have I the only person I gave to this season was Kit Harington. Everyone else just got one from me. Um,
Yeah, I've got two twos. So 4 of the 7 episodes this season were between Cersei, Lena Headey,
mm-hmm.
and Macy Williams as Arya
And
Stark.
yes, that was the I only gave Macy Williams one, but I don't know. I was thinking about going for her with the season. Maybe not necessarily that she, I think like Lena Headey is. I mean, it's just kind of undeniable. But I think like as far as like Macy Williams, her growth as an actor, like she's all the way there now. Like from the beginning of the season, she is completely her character and no doubts. I love the way she plays Arya um, now, and even if her storyline was bad, I don't know. I still think that she performed well. And like whenever it was
Mm.
her and Brienne, like fighting, and at the beginning, like her return to Winterfell, I really really loved. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of I would have expected to go with like Lena Headey or Kit Harington. But I don't know. I think I'll give Macy Williams some love for this season
I dig
because
that.
I
I
think
dig
she
that. I'm actually gonna subvert expectations completely. Um,
okay.
I didn't give my season long any this season, um, which is
Okay.
not the first time I will have done this. I think I did that with Alfie Allen, at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Wow.
I did that with Alfie Allen in season 3 of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm going Peter Dinklage as Tyrion for
Okay.
the season,
Okay.
for season 7.
Yeah.
Um, I think that, looking at the sum total of his work this season, it's an interesting spot for his character to be in and for him to approach it with such, uh, vulnerability and verve and just kind of be it's a different take on Tyrion than we've seen in the past.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been the underdog. Now he is in a position of power, and ironically enough, the higher of a position of power he's in, the worse he's doing. He's not
Yep.
doing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to watch Tyrion try to cope with that, like I remember when he's trying to prevent Daenerys from going north and him being like, they sometimes that's the hardest thing to do is nothing. I remember whenever, she's like, your plans have got us nowhere. He's like, we have our plan. It's still the right plan, like that whole thing. Like
Mm.
every single time he's on screen, he's consistent, he's strong, he's really good. And that performance in the finale here, that scene with Cersei where he's shaking to pour the wine and all that, like just
Okay. Yeah, I
an
like that.
incredible actor. So I'm gonna give him the season long
Yeah.
nod.
Crazy. He didn't get any nods at all this season for any episode individually, which is very, very, I think, unlike, or just rare. But I do think you're right. On the sum total, he nailed. I mean, he always nails his role. Um, but he did do a great job.
Holy
And
shit. I'm looking at it. I haven't given Peter Dinklage a performance nod since the season 4 finale.
oh wow, I didn't give him a yeah in season 5, none. Wait a minute, none in season 4 either. Oh man, my last one was season 4. Oh, it was season 4, episode 6. Was my last Peter Dinklage. Oh wow.
His
Mm.
trial,
Ah,
yes.
yeah, that one makes sense. But
Yeah, and I gave Peter Dinklage in season 4 3 performance nods for episode 6, 7, and 10. So he hasn't gotten a performance nod for a single episode in 3 seasons.
wow.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, but and he's always
um,
up there though. I mean,
well,
he
and
always yeah.
I listed him.
Mm-hmm.
when we were talking about who's got the numbers. He's still outpacing most everybody at fourth out of the
Yeah.
top 5.
Yeah. He's
And we
doing.
haven't given him one since the season 4 finale.
That's crazy.
It's
Yeah.
been 27 episodes since we gave him a performance nod, and he's still not even 5th in the top 5.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
He dominated the early game. That's for sure.
Oh, dude.
Um.
The highlight of the early seasons of the show, 100%.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
what about a scene? Do you have a favorite scene of the
I think
season?
so. Yeah. I was looking through. It was almost. I was almost gonna go with like Suicide Squad episode and them Drogon coming in and then having Viserion die. But I think I'm actually gonna go with Olenna's death this season. I think like them taking Highgarden was nice, but then to end it with just the poison and her being like, is there any pain? No, and then downing it. I thought she went out in the most Olenna way that she could have, and I like the interact like in Jaime's reaction, the like silent rage, kind of building up for him and all of that. I thought it was just a very well executed scene. Um, and yeah, I guess kind of looking back on the previous scenes, it's kind of there isn't one that sticks out like crazy like previous seasons usually. And I
Yeah,
guess
no,
that's
it's kind of a mixed bag. I'm sorry I dipped for a second. I don't know if you
mm,
caught that.
mm,
My Discord quit.
oh,
So
okay.
if you were watching the video and I disappeared for a second, my Discord collapsed and I just hopped right back in. But no, I'm with you. I'm with you. I think that I could hear most of what you said. I just missed a couple seconds there. There was there isn't really a standout. And there are those choices where you could understand, Viserion's death, the Suicide Squad, like you said. But I'm gonna go with a little more something that's hitting home, and that's Arya, Bran, and Sansa reuniting in Winterfell.
Mm,
Um, Whenever they all, it's a good moment when they're in the Godswood by the Heart Tree, and
mm-hmm.
he gives the dagger to her. But more just them marching through the courtyard together,
Just seeing
and
him. Yeah,
Brienne and
just
Podrick watching
yeah,
them, and
like
like
oh
that whole thing. I loved it. It made me extremely
mm,
happy. So, um, I loved that, and I cannot wait for the Arya Jon reunion next episode. Um,
ooh oh
it's
wow
impeccable. One of my
that does
favorites.
happen next episode. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, they
Yeah.
arrive in Winterfell next episode. I
Oh
think it
my
happens next episode.
god. That's
Um,
yeah. I guess oh my god, we're fucking there. We're
yeah,
at
we're
season.
it's the
Holy
you feel like
shit.
there should be something that happens before
Yeah.
that, but no, we're going straight to Winterfell. That is how
Oh
the season opens. It
wow.
opens with them
That's
marching into
yeah.
Winterfell.
Oh
Um,
my god.
but
Okay.
yeah, I loved it. I loved it, man. So I went with that. What about a line of the season?
I think look, I was looking back through and one that stood out to me that I liked. It was from episode 3, when John arrived at Dragonstone. Or he might have been there for a little bit, but um, Daenerys says, "We all enjoy what we're good at," and then John replies, "I don't." I thought was just very very badass and very to show the just the difference in character. Like they're very they mean the same thing. They both have the same goals, but have a very different outlook on like
Mhm.
themselves and
No,
everything.
absolutely. Absolutely. I like that too. I'm going with one from this episode. I'm going with the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives. Um,
Hard,
as
yeah.
far as just the summation of this show thus far and what's going forward, like I dig that. I love that. So I love the Starks, and
Hmm.
that sentiment always rings heartily with me. So I'm cool with that.
We
Um,
I guess all that's left is to rate the season now.
and that'll
And
be an
how we
interesting
thought.
one. I
Yeah.
think that enjoyment wise, it's probably again my weakest season yet. We've given 3 straight seasons 10, the 2 before that 9.75s, and season 1 a 9. So I'm going 8. I think
Yeah.
that's where I'm at. 8, to 8.5, anywhere in that
Yeah,
range. I
it
think
is
it's
kind of just like an 8. It is.
and
It's
that's an
okay. There
enjoyable
are
season.
fun,
It's a
but
good
like
season.
the Arya and Sansa stuff really does hit both enjoyment and critical
Yes,
value.
absolutely. Because
And
if there are elements of this show that towards the end of the season aren't good, but at least they're fun. At least it's nice.
hmm
At least it satisfies me.
yeah,
Um, that's
but
nothing. I do not like that. So, and it's the first time in a while, maybe ever in the show that I can expressly say I actively dislike
yeah,
something they do. Um,
yeah. I think
that's
eight
really the
eight
only
is
thing I
fair.
actively dislike.
I
So
don't
in a
think there is,
season,
anything else. Well, Jamie, in the crypt with their dead kid, and you know,
I
the,
mean, like
I
storyline
guess,
wise, like entire an
yeah,
entire season spent on this story
true, true.
is like
It's not,
there are specific acts done by specific characters that I do actively dislike the choice of them having done.
hmm
Uh, More from just like an optics perspective, like that's a terrible choice. The Jamie
and
having
then
Jamie
them
sexually
just,
assault Cersei next to their dead
yeah,
child,
and
and then
nothing was done
her
about it.
kind of forgive him for that. Like that's
Yeah.
horrendous. That's out of character. It's terrible. Joffrey torturing women at every turn he possibly could. Sometimes you just don't need that on screen. Like there are certain choices that I think are in poor taste. This is just bad
Yeah, yeah,
storytelling, which
true.
is a different thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 8 is fair then. It kind of sounded low at first, but I don't think it is too low. I think it is where it lands, which is we haven't given a single season below a 9.
Yeah. This is that though. It is there. Like it's definitely on a lower level than the other two. Or the other six, I should say. I
Mhm.
don't know what's it two.
Yeah.
Um um but
Okay, let's
critically,
see.
again, we're looking at the weakest season. And again, probably at about an 8. I think it's the worst season by a decent margin.
Yeah, we gave an
I think
episode
it's
a
more
six,
enjoyable
seven,
than it is
five.
good.
Yeah. 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 I'd say it's kind of just on. It's just kind of the same. It's like
Mhm.
for Game of Thrones, this feels just kind of meh. Like there are good moments. It kind of balances out, but that it's meh for Game of Thrones, but for normal television, this is still pretty good. Like yeah, like an 8 feels low. Like it's crazy that
Mhm.
that is like low
No, but that
for
is
Game of
good.
Thrones,
That is
but
a good season of
um,
television,
but I
and it
think
is.
yeah, I
It's
think
a
this
solid
is just
episode of television,
yeah, I think this is just kind of 8s across the board this season.
right?
Um, and
And
yeah.
if that's it, it's an 80%,
Mm-hmm.
and we conclude another season of Game of Thrones,
Man.
and we will continue Winter is Blooming in 2 weeks' time. The season 8 premiere will be in 2 weeks, as next Monday we are doing our very own Penny Bloom Film Awards, which I'm very excited about. We are going to do our own little Oscars ahead of the actual Oscars, and I'm so excited for that. I'm loving movies, love 2023, and there's a lot to love. So I'm excited to shower stuff that we enjoyed with some love. So I'm excited for that. That's next Monday. We will be continuing our comic book movie project this Friday because I believe Wednesday is the Bad Batch, if I am not
Mm-hmm.
mistaken. We
That is
got the first 4 episodes of the Bad Batch this Wednesday, and I'm so very excited to revisit that. We've been covering that show since its inception, season 1, episode 1. So we got to
mm-hmm.
cover it in some capacity to conclude it. So we're going to be
Yeah.
doing that in chunks. And this Wednesday is the first chunk of the first 4, but then we will be continuing our not our Game of Thrones, our comic book movie journey through film this Friday, uh, with March 1st's episode being Fantastic Four, the remake starring Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, et cetera, et
Mm-hmm.
cetera. So we got a shitter to look forward to. Can't wait. But yeah, with that, I already did the plugs.
mm-hmm.
Look at that. I think I like
Yeah.
that format. I like that format a lot.
Wow.
I'm Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom, and the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives.